everybody to another edition of the C3 Friday Free for All, the show that's for Panther fans by Panther fans. You already know what it is. My name is Cody Lashing, co-host of the C3 podcast. Coming back to you for another opportunity for you to be on the C3 Panthers podcast. That's right. This is your show. If you would like to join, the link is in the description of the YouTube and Facebook, and you can join via Streamyard. That's how we normally do it. You probably already know the roundup right now. We got my C3 Friday Freak Boys. Love these dudes. And first, I'm just going to work right to left, or left to right, pardon me. I got to get my directions straight. Panther Pickle. Panther Pickle, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, guys. Today, I'm going to tell everybody my opinion. If you fire Rhule, you got to fire Scott Fitterer, too.
Oh, wow. All right, that ought to make for a great discussion, Pickle. I'm happy you're bringing that to us. Next up, coming all the way from Boston, Massachusetts,
not Boston. Oof.
Oh, not Boston. Pardon me.
No, man.
How about this?
I live on the other end of the state.
Massachusetts. The legendary Nick Montero. Nick, what's up, brother?
You know I got to mess with you a little bit, Cody. But, man, I'm going to change things up a little bit. I'm doing good, but I got to ice somebody up, and he's sitting here on the free-for-all tonight.
Oh.
And that is my man below me, Drew. Because let me tell you something, man. I didn't get the chance to sit down and watch the game right on time, so I text Drew. I'm like, hey, how'd the game look? He's like, dude, I didn't yell at my TV once. I turned on NFL Live, and I started watching the game from the beginning. I was yelling at my TV before kickoff.
So basically, you were bamboozled. You were misled.
Oh, yeah.
You were bamboozled, led astray. Drew had you thinking there was something to celebrate. But nah, bro, it's just misery down here in these Carolinas, dog.
He did tell me that we lost, but, man, it's like you... How did you not yell at your TV for seeing Chuba Hubbard returning kickoffs?
Hey, well, you know what? That's a good question. Let's pose that question to the man himself, Drew. How did you not yell at your screen when watching Chuba fumble that kickoff?
Okay, guys, in my defense, the reason I didn't yell at my television screen is because I don't expect much from the Panthers anyway at this point. And every screw up the Panthers make is just another notch in the coffin of Matt Rhule. So how can you yell at the screen? You're going to get what you want, which is Matt Rhule fired. And I'm sorry, Pickle, I don't agree with firing Scott Fitterer too.
We'll talk about
Scott,
it, brother.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one because I got a little problem with that. I like old Scotty Fitt.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that opinions are wavered on Fitterer. You know, I kind of thought people were in his corner, but man, when you're not winning, the whole organization is losing. So
That's a fact.
Man, that's going to be a conversation to have. Real quick, let me welcome these next two gentlemen. This next guy, oh man, dude, this guy lives with me in Westeros, bro. We're both riding dragons, waiting for House of the Dragon, dude. It's my man Jay Stubbs. Jay Stubbs, what's up?
Like I tweeted Sunday afternoon, at least we got black helmets. And to quote Thanos, what did it cost? It cost everything. Because we fucking suck.
Oh man, that's a great line to drop. You know that I really do think we paid everything. By the way, Tim Tizzy is completely wrong on anything that he ever says at any point at all times. Out of 10. Next up, coming all the way from the beautiful shores of Hawaii, my man JD864. JD, what's up, bro?
Dude, what's good, man?
Happy to have you back, man. Happy to have you back. Got a great matchup to break down. It ought to be interesting, man. It ought to be interesting. We got a lot to talk about today. Always do, man. But you already know what it is. Next up, haven't seen him in a while, but always happy to have him. He brings fantastic takes. My man, Brad. Brad, what's up, dude?
Oh, man, I heard the Scott Fitterer slander from Pickle, and I'm like, man, there's not much that he and I agree on. Like, we won't agree on presidential candidates. We won't agree on policy. We can agree that Fitterer should be gone.
Amen.
Oh, all
I
right.
am so happy that you're on here, buddy, because I have something just for you. Because guess what? While I was at practice, when they were up here in New England, the only person that signed the football was Scott Fitterer. So you send me your address, and I got a football for you.
Oh
Ooh.
man, nice Scott Fitterer autograph, man. Rare. I don't see too many people with Scott Fitterer autographs, so that's pretty cool, man. Well, I guess if you like him, if you hate him, maybe you think it's trash, you know.
Oh,
But
I know Brad hates him, so.
yeah, we're gonna
Dude,
talk about it today, man.
Oof.
And look, it's gonna be a full discussion. Next up, this man is the illegitimate child of Tony Dunn. He's named after a delicious coffee drink and all around cool ass dude, man. It's White Chocolate Espresso. What up, White Chocolate?
What's up, man? What you up to?
Chilling. Just doing a free Friday afternoon, bro. You know, not shit.
Oh yeah, bro.
That's right. And then last but not least, you know him from the chat room. He's in just about every Panthers chat that there is. Lux, man. Lux, what up, bro? Oh, we almost had everybody ready at the moment.
Locks Main.
Hello,
Calling Locks Main.
Lux, man. All right, anyway, we'll get to him when we get to him.
He's asleep.
Anyway,
He rolling one up.
No,
Oh.
I'll see when he I'll see when he unmutes his mic.
He
There
likes
is.
Scott
Lux.
Fitterer.
Yo.
Lux, say something good.
Oh yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now, bro. What's up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm in here, man. I'm listening. I'm in here.
I appreciate you, bro. And like I said, if y'all would like to join the show, you can access it via Streamyard. Go ahead and post the link in the chat right now, and we will be off to the races. All right, look, I was going to go in a different direction first, but let's just do this. Since we're already there, let's just jump onto this. I'm going to let Panther Pickle go first, since he was the one that brought up Scott Fitterer. And then we'll kind of bounce around. And again, just a note of reference, be mindful to kind of let everybody finish their point. Then I'll kind of do my best to bounce around to different people and let everybody respond. Please and thanks.
Don't
Anyway,
forget.
yeah, right. Panther Pickle.
All
The
right.
floor is yours, man. You said if Rhule is gone, Fitterer better be gone too. So tell me, man, what you think?
The reason why I say that is real simple. Okay, we've been here before and done this. When old owner Jerry Richardson fired the old guy and went to hire John Fox, Marty was there. Then they fired John Fox, Marty was there. They hired Ron Rivera, Marty was there. About 2 years later, they fired Marty. They hired this idiot named Dave Gettleman.
Mm-hmm.
And if you follow all them steps, it all equals to the same thing. The best organization in this league currently, in my personal opinion, is the Buffalo Bills. And they had a GM and a head coach at the same time. They're on par. They know exactly what each other wants. When they go in the draft, it's a joint. There's no discussion on whether it's an argumentative or it's a joint discussion. It's always good and calm and talking. I don't believe we've had that in Carolina ever. And no offense against Scott Fitterer, but let's be real. It's on his head that Pat Elflein and Cam Irving are here. Now, Matt Rhule may have said, these are the guys I want, but he's still the GM in charge of that. He's never come out and said no. That wasn't my picks. They were Matt Rhule's guys. So therefore, if you ain't going to defend yourself, you're guilty by association in my book. Now,
Okay.
you could go on through the steps. Who had their name on the draft card when they selected Marshall? Scott Fitterer, he's a GM.
Yeah.
One of the best centers in this league, has only been in the league, this is his second year, was available. Who drafted Horn? Scott Fitterer. He was a
Yeah.
GM. We know the stud left tackle that was there. That Matt Rhule said wasn't really a left tackle.
Right.
His arms were short. Scott Fitterer apparently didn't say a word. Went along with the flow. So, therefore, and by the way, who was the GM when now I'm not going to mention Justin Fields. I might be wrong on that
What
one.
about Sam Darnold? He was Sam Darnold, wasn't he?
Exactly, that's
Yeah,
my point.
wasn't
He
he?
was the one that gave Sam Darnold. And okay. To all the pundits out there, if you want to say Sam Darnold, you go get Sam Darnold. Fine, but you have to be you got to be an idiot to believe Sam Darnold is worth a second, fourth, and a sixth. Come on.
So
Put your
so Pickle, a part of your argument is essentially, even if some of the decisions came from Matt Rhule, by Scott Fitterer okaying them, he's essentially complicit in all of those decisions that have been made along the way.
Is that fair?
Cody,
Okay, so I'm gonna go to Brad, and then I'm gonna go to Drew. So so that way I get some differing opinions here. Go ahead, Brad.
So here's the thing about the Sam Darnold trade. We were betting against no one else. No one else wanted him.
Yep.
Why did we come in with the starting price of a 2/4, a second, a fourth, and a sixth? That is insane, right? He said that he talked to the GM for the Jets, and they agreed that was fair compensation. In what way is that fair compensation when Baker Mayfield, who, regardless of what anybody thinks of Baker Mayfield, I don't like the guy. I think that was a wasted trade. But he's still significantly better than Sam Darnold, right? I mean, historically speaking, he has been significantly better than Sam Darnold. When he would cost you a fifth or a conditional fourth, and Sam Darnold, who is infinitely worse, cost you a second, a fourth, and a sixth, that is just gross mismanagement. Then you look at Matt Rhule might have final roster decisions, but look at the contracts they've given out. Look at how deep in the hole they are next year for the salary cap. Look, they only have 4 picks. They're $16 million over the cap already. I mean, at the end of the day, look, the fact of the matter is everybody wants to use the Rhule has final roster decision thing as a way of placating how poor a job Scott Fitterer has done. But if let's just say my wife says, everybody knows your wife pretty much runs the show, right? Your wife says we're going to remodel the damn kitchen, but I'm only going to give you a screwdriver to do it with, right? If you say okay and don't ever say I need more tools than a screwdriver, you have no right to complain when the project is a complete and total shit show. That's just the reality.
Okay. I hear you. And I think there's a lot of legitimate criticism and all of that. Drew, are you still with me?
Oh yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, okay. I know Drew feels some type of way about this. I'm gonna let Drew go before I give my opinions on this. Drew, go ahead. What you think about what Pickle and Brad?
I can understand where Brad and Pickle are coming from, but at the same time, and they did state this, we all know Matt Rhule has final say on roster decisions. Scott Fitterer is not going to come sit up on the mic and throw Matt Rhule up under the bus, because that's going to make Fitterer look bad. Even if he did get fired, it's going to make him look bad to any other owner that's going to look for to hire him. Oh, he'll throw his head coach under the bus to save his butt. So Fitterer's going to do what he's there to do. He's going to sit there and he's going to try to back Matt Rhule up, even though I really feel like he's shaking his head like, this guy doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
But his hands are tied. It's in Rhule's contract that at the end of the day, if he and Scott disagree, Tepper weighs in and Matt Rhule ends up getting what Matt Rhule wants. Matt Rhule stated he wanted Pat Elflein and Cam Irvin. He got Pat Elflein and Cam Irvin. I can agree with the fact that Scott Fitterer was stupid in what he gave up for Sam Darnold. I totally agree on that. Okay, so that's a notch, that's a hit against Scott Fitter. But the rest of it, at the end of the day, the buck stops with Rhule. Scott Fitter's his job at that point, Rhule says this is what I want. It's Fitter's job to go and get it at that point, which is butt backwards because the GM should be hiring the coach, not the coach hiring the GM.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But here, okay.
Wait,
So,
hold
but
on a second. Hold on one second. But I want to. So I'm going to open it up for everyone to jump in. I want to make sure that I get to everyone first, Rhule. White chocolate. I'm going to go to you and then Nick. Kevin, talk to me, bro.
I was going to say, I think he's just letting Rhule fail. Like saying, all right, you want that? All right, there you go. Like he's waiting
So
for him to fail. Get his own head coach.
basically letting him hang himself, and then he gets to pick his own guy.
Oh, you want Sam Darnold? Okay, here you go.
Okay, yeah, Bridgewater, Baker. Okay, Nick, get in on this, bro.
So, I mean, the other thing that we got to remember too is last year was Scott Fitter's first draft. Even in Seattle, he wasn't necessarily the one picking all the draft picks. So how much free roam are you really going to give your brand new hire in your number 8 pick in the draft? I get it. He's the GM. You got to let the guy do his job, but at the same time, if he's never had this position before and you bring him in, are you really going to feel confident with him making the right choice for the number 8 pick in the draft, or are you going to let Coach Rhule do it? Now, I don't know what the right answer is, but that's kind of got to be something that we really got to keep in the back of our minds too.
Yeah. There's so many things to consider too, because I think the thing that really gets us is Matt Rhule has final say so on all things related to the roster. So that kind of leaves us guessing as to who really is making the final say so. I'm gonna go to Jay Stubbs and then JD right after. Jay, talk to me, man.
I think both sides are pretty. I can see both sides, but I think I'm probably gonna be with Pickle if this thing ends. How I think it's gonna end. Again, we could turn it around. As Panther fans, we know more than anybody. Just when you think we're gonna suck, we run on an 8-game win streak. But I don't see the competence of a coaching staff to do that this year. So basically, if it goes like I think it's gonna go, I'm gonna have to go with Pickle, man. You have to clean house, and in the words of the Mad King, burn them all.
Burn them all.
Can I say something? Real fast?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're leaving out one person too, Tepper.
Who?
Yeah, but you can't fire him though, so that nothing you can do about that, bro.
We're talking about like who to blame for all this. I mean, Tepper went up on who was
no, yeah.
About,
at the end of the day, I mean, unfortunately, whether Scott Fitter is fired or not, whether Rhule is fired or not, we're relying on Tepper to make the right call when he hires their replacements, and I don't see that happening personally. I mean, right.
His track record is not very good. Hang on, let me get JD in on the conversation and Locks as well, and then I'm going to pose a question to the people who want Matt Rhule fired. JD, go ahead on this, bro.
So off the bat, both sides present very compelling arguments, but I'm definitely gonna have to side with Drew on this one, because you look at this roster as it's currently composed, and you can't it's a team effort. Like, legitimately, the ultimate team sport is a team effort. So you could have a case where Rhule saying, "Hey, I want this guy," and it's somewhat working out, or it's working out. And you have a case where Rhule says, "I want that guy," or Tepper. Fitter is like, "Hey, we need to go and get this guy." Ultimately, I'm looking at the way the team's currently composed of, and I'm thinking, if we have the holes we have, if we can attribute those to Rhule wanting this guy or that guy and it's simply not working out, then the discussion about the defensive players having an issue with Snow's scheme, I'm much more aligned with believing in Fitter, his draft process, the guys he's brought in to assess talent, and I'm much more willing to trust him. Fire Rhule, bring in a head coach that shares a similar vision to what Fitter is seeing this team, what Fitter wants his team to become, and go from there. Because we have, like, I think I might have said it before the season started. If we had any other head coach, like if you gave Sean McVay this roster, if you gave Andy Reid this roster, like we'd be hands down like, yo, this is definitely a playoff team. The questions are all like the biggest questions, at least I have, are it's the coaching staff. I said it, I think on Tuesday. My faith is placed in these players, the talent that these guys have. I have little faith in this coaching staff. So I'd much rather Fitterer. If you fire Rhule, keep Fitterer, let Fitterer bring in his guy, and go from there.
Hey, Cody.
Agree.
Also, I got one caveat though. Let's say we start whatever 2 and whatever or 1 and whatever, and it gets close to the deadline, and I see Scott Fitterer actually starting a rebuild plan. He starts trading. Maybe he trades McCaffrey for a pick. Maybe he trades somebody else for a pick. And I see him laying the foundation for next year. Then, I can kind of give him, 1 more year to look because, that's moves that we have not seen in this organization ever. Right? And I mean, not since, I don't know, 2000, whenever we did the rebuild right before we drafted Cam Newton. So, yeah, that's the only caveat I have. If he can turn these assets into draft picks for next season, even though we suck, then I can, that's being a general manager because he didn't inherit none of this, really,
Well, if Matt Rhule's still a coach, I mean,
hey,
Cody, let me just say one thing real quick before I lose you guys.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the one thing that we said about Scott Fitterer and Matt Rhule not being on the same page. We can already tell that Matt Rhule and Scott Fitterer are on the same page. The first thing Scott Fitterer said is that in order to build a winning franchise, you want us to have a young rookie quarterback that you can build a team around. Matt Rhule does not want a rookie quarterback. Matt Rhule wanted somebody that was established. So they were already butting heads in that philosophy right there. Fitterer wanted to build a team around a young quarterback, and Rhule wants a veteran. You can't have it both ways, and we see Rhule got what he wanted. He placated Scott by taking Matt Corral, and everybody knew Matt Corral was not going to play because Matt Rhule didn't want to play him.
And none of them identify quarterback talent. Nobody on our upper management can identify.
See, but that's the thing.
So that's my next question though. If we fire Rhule and we let Scott go hire somebody, Scott may or may not get who he wants. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no secret that Dallas isn't happy with McCarthy. Well, remember how long David Tepper spent talking with Mike McCarthy before he hired Rhule.
Man.
Hey, now understand that.
Put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
And dude, that's right there. It is. Now, if you go hire another idiot coach, when do you say, okay, we're repeating history, okay? Ron Rivera was hired. He struggled. Then the owner blamed the GM, fired the GM. You hired another idiot GM, and you're repeating the same cycle.
Yeah. So, so before we go forward, I want to add 2 people. Anthony, what's up, Anthony? You there, bro?
Yeah, what's up, Cody? What's up, boys?
What's up, dude? Happy to have you back. Yep. Yeah. Let me. So, Anthony, hang on 1 sec. Locks, are you there? Locks, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, man, jump in on this Fitterer conversation real quick. If
Okay.
Matt Rhule is fired, does Fitterer need to be fired too?
No. What I believe David Tepper would do, if he fires Rhule, more than likely, the whole staff is going to leave with Rhule wherever he goes, including like some of the front office guys. So that's automatically going to have Fitterer and David Tepper. They're gonna have to hire a whole bunch of new like front office guys, hire new staff, and I believe he's gonna do it like he did Ron Rivera, where he fired Ron Rivera, but he kept Marty Herney, like for an easy transition. So what I believe he would do if he fired Matt Rhule is he would keep Fitterer at least for another year or two just to see how it goes. And you know, I don't believe he would let Fitterer do the hiring because I believe David Tepper, he's one of those type of guys. He want to do the hiring himself, but Fitterer will have some input on the coaching hire. But at the end of the day, I say you don't fire Fitterer, and you let. I would suggest he let Fitterer do the hire the coach, but at the end of the day, he's writing the checks and he's gonna hire who he wants. And Pickle said something about Mike McCarthy. If he didn't hire Mike McCarthy the first time, I don't believe he's gonna double back again and try to hire him. But that's my take on it.
That's
Okay.
That's a good answer, if I may say.
Yeah. No, that is a great answer.
Also,
Hey,
also
okay, man.
remember, he turned down Eric Bieniemy. So if he turned down Eric Bieniemy once, he ain't gonna go back to him again. So, if traditionally a GM hires somebody that he's familiar with. So take a look at the ex Seattle Seahawks assistant coaches that's left and are available, and figure out who you want. I have. It ain't pretty sight.
No,
Is
yeah,
that
I mean,
So here's what I'll do. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony hadn't gotten in, and then I'm gonna go to Brad, and then I'm gonna pose a question. So Anthony, then Brad. Go ahead, Anthony. All right, he might not be there. All right, we'll go to Anthony in a minute. Brad, go ahead. Is Brad there? Brad, you there?
yeah, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, man.
So here's my thing, right? We've seen this song and dance before. Everybody that's advocating for keeping Fitterer, there's a right way to do this in the NFL. In the NFL, you hire the GM and the owner hire the coach. The GM and the coach are married. They're together. I would have been okay with Fitterer staying around post Rhule if they would have fired Rhule last season. The second they decided not to do that, as far as I'm concerned, those two they're married. They're done. They're a package deal at this point for me. What you're advocating for is making the same mistakes over again. And I'm sorry, what has Fitterer done? What's he actually done? Because if you look at not just the 2020, I'm not going to count the 2020 draft, but the 2022 draft, the 2021 draft. I mean, we've gotten 3 starters out of that, and then that's pretty much it. Like and even Tommy Tremble isn't really playing anymore. Like they're playing Ricci over Tremble. So
they're playing
coaching though.
Ian Thomas, Richie, and Stephen Sullivan. They're playing over
right.
Tommy Tremble.
But isn't that over coaching though?
But that's my point. Is if you look at whether it's coaching or whatever, you look at the players they've drafted. They haven't drafted anybody that's actually outside of their first round picks, which is a problem for the Panthers and Brady Christensen. Outside of those 3 players, they don't have. Nobody's really a contributor on this team that they've drafted. I mean, and if you look at the contracts, I mean, I'm serious. If you haven't looked at our cap situation next year, look at Spot Track. It's not good. We have made moves. We have traded players, or traded assets, draft picks. We've signed contracts that have put us in a position where we should be winning, and we're not. And I understand if everybody wants to give Scott another chance, but you're just repeating the sins of the past again, and we need to get out of that routine.
So can I
want to say something?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
I was going to say, I posted in our group chat, Rhule has not run the ball at all. We've averaged 15 rushes with our running back.
That's what Ben McAdoo does, bro.
And Cleveland has averaged 33, I believe, rushes with the running backs. We should be identical with our backs, touches and everything. I don't understand why we're not. And I put that on Rhule. I feel like we would have won both those games if we would have ran the ball more.
Yeah,
It'd be a winning team.
Hey, real quick, I want to add if Panthers spoke. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, uh, long time listener. You know, I just I've been waiting to get in. I just want to say this. I I think that we as Panthers fans, we really need to press the brakes. Well, let me start with this. I do agree with some of you all. I think that Scott Fitterer really isn't the problem, and the reason I believe that is because there's been one person that's remained constant every time we've had 5-12 seasons, and that has been Matt Rhule. We fired Joe Brady; he wasn't the problem. We got rid of Teddy Bridgewater; thought he was the problem. Turned out he wasn't the problem. He went somewhere and did better. We did Sam Darnold last year, and that didn't work. We have Baker Mayfield right now. That our stats, Baker Mayfield, what our offensive stats. Sam Darnold could do the exact same thing. The exact same. Our rankings could be the exact same with Sam Darnold. I think what people are forgetting, or when it comes to Baker Mayfield, I think that people saw how he was in Cleveland and believed that he would do the same thing here. However, he doesn't have those. The offensive line. While we could say Scott Fitterer, he fixed the offensive line. He fixed the defensive line. He fixed the secondary, which everybody knows we were having problems with the secondary after Trey Boston left. I mean,
so that actually leads me to a question, right?
The talent's there, Cody. That's
yeah.
The talent's there.
That's not on Scott. That's not on Scott Fitterer. That's strictly on play calling. And
so my question is this: do we not want? Okay, let's say J.C. Horn, and I know people are already kind of down on J.C. and CJ, and look, that's your right to do so. I personally believe that J.C. Horn and CJ Henderson are going to be just fine. I think they're going to be really good football players. Is there nothing to be said about if you have a head coach that is failing to get the most out of the talent on the football team? And by the way, now there are many examples of players leaving the Panthers and being more successful. I think Drew was the one telling me Greg Little, he's the starting right tackle for the Miami Dolphins, and they're one of the better teams in football. Former Panthers second-round pick, mind you. Now, granted, that was under Marty Hurney, but my point is this. If we have a head coach that cannot maximize the talent on the football team, well, then why should Scott Fitterer be made to suffer when all he has done is deliver good players through the draft?
But
players that have a lot of really high upside.
But that's the point, though. So far, sometimes you get lucky. You just do. And they've got high upside. But would you rather choose between a high upside wide receiver or a starting center? They're trading back. Sometimes is good. Sometimes you end up losing out on that bet.
Creed Humphrey.
But also, Jay Stubbs, you remember John Fox? How much did John Fox want to play rookies?
Shit, never. Unless it was like Julius Peppers.
Well, do you remember? That's one of the reasons why Marty Hurney did not want to re-sign him, and eventually they let him go as a lame duck head coach because he wouldn't play the rookies. Simple fact that he was here all the years, and he got his places, but he got his places because he preferred free agents, and that's how he did it. He hated to draft rookies because he didn't feel rookies would be ready to play for 3 or 4 more years.
And that's something else I want to push back on. I want to push back on that is because Cody, he got you. He got everyone that wanted to get rid of Scott Fitterer with that question he just posed. It's not if a coach can't draft talent and then mold that talent into what we need, get the most in that talent. That's not that coach. That's not how the NFL works. This isn't. This. You have to mold. You have to make that person what you want. It's not. That's not a Scott Fitterer. Scott Fitterer could have traded 20 times, and as long as we had players that, and after both drafts, we all like the players we received. And there's nothing that any of you all can say because we all like. There was not one bad player from the draft that we got, except for the long snapper that we didn't have, that we ended up getting rid of.
Terrace Marshall Jr. Terrace Marshall Jr. wasn't a bad player.
Jonathan.
Fucking Chuba Herbert. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about at the time. At the time, we all liked the picks.
Well, that's normal, though. After a draft,
that's every team in the league, B.
Yeah, every fan base.
Not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
I agree. No, I understand that. I understand. I completely agree with what you're saying. I'm not. All I'm saying is, Terrace Marshall. Best way to put it, Jonathan Stewart said it best on the Locked On Panthers thing. There's too many chefs in the kitchen. When it comes, if you want to talk about the cap space, we could talk about that because we're re-signing players, we're getting players, and all for offense that they're not going to get on the field because guess what? We got shots. If we want to talk about wide receivers, you already know the wide receivers we have. And what you want to call
so far they suck. The only guy they suck.
They
Robbie
don't.
Anderson drops. How do you say they're not, sir? Let's be honest. DJ Moore, he catches if you give it to him. Robbie Anderson drops more than he catches.
But we haven't
had Smith so far. The last 2 games, Cy Smith has dropped everything you throw to him. He's pretty much useless at this point.
And what you're saying is
the other wide receivers haven't even played.
Okay, you want to talk? I agree with what you're saying, but what I'm saying is 18 minutes and 19 minutes. That's how long we've had the ball. That's how long the offense has had the teams are running the ball on us. How are you going to get anybody started if you only have the ball 1/4 of the game? Well, nobody's going to win.
I mean, but we're not moving it on offense. Nobody's getting open.
That's the reason why we're having it. Everybody gets the ball kicked to them. If you have 3 and out, punt, 3 and out. Sounds like a John Fox recipe. 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt, 3 and out, punt.
All right, time out. Let me interject. Anthony, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm here, Cody.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna go to Anthony. Then we're gonna have the final comments on Fitterer, and then I want to move on to this Dan Orlovsky bit. But Anthony, what do you think? If Matt Rhule is fired, does Fitterer need to?
So I'm gonna agree with Bradley and Pickle. I think they both need to go, and just for the sake of this is on Scott Fitterer because he decided to come to this shit show. So he deserves to go down with Matt Rhule. That's just my opinion. But when you talk about the receivers and, all these players not playing, I mean, that's on coaching. Like, all these guys that we've drafted, there's only been 3 of them that have been starting. It just makes no sense when you have, like, guys like Terrace Marshall Jr. and guys like Laviska Shenault, and they don't see the field. And those are guys you're spending picks on. So, like, we wouldn't be, like, talking about this if, they were not on our team or they're just bad players. But that's not Fitterer. That's not Fitterer's problem. That's how I actually, like, see that, this is just Matt Rhule running everything. Because when it comes to the quarterback position as a prime example, there was tweets going on like in the draft saying that we were about to trade for Baker, and then they made the Matt Corral pick, and then we ended up getting Baker too. So you can just tell that they both have different philosophies, but it's just overruled by Rhule no matter what. So I think even if Scott Fitterer could do a good job here next year with a competent head coach, there's no point. Just clean the house and just start from complete scratch. I mean, it's bad enough that we only have 4 picks, and if we're gonna go down this spiral turn of losing these games, because I really believe like as long as Rhule's the coach, we're gonna lose. Like I truly believe he just gives us a significant disadvantage over every other team, and I mean, I think we just need to start from scratch. I've never really brought up Fitterer as much because there's not much he can do. Like he's not the coach. He can only like picked. I guarantee a lot of these draft picks were Matt Rhule's guys, even from the draft class last year.
Who is this talking?
Anthony.
This is Anthony.
Anthony, to your point, like Pat Eflin, as much as we hate him, he's been pretty decent the first couple games. And let's not forget, now that's not center. Let's not pretend he wasn't a shitty guard. I know, but and Denzel Perryman, like he didn't get along with Matt Rhule, so that wasn't a fitter. Was so I think it goes both ways. Like Perryman ended up being a Pro Bowl linebacker, and God knows we had no business giving away a Pro Bowl linebacker, like none at all.
I wonder. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine, Pickle.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, or go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wonder why. That's right. Scott Fitterer didn't hire Matt Rhule, so therefore, if you fire Matt Rhule and they hire another head coach, and then they get rid of Scott Fitterer, then the new GM has to deal with the coach he didn't hire.
Yeah,
kind of a repeating cycle, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would be interested to see who Fitterer chose to be the next head coach. Again, you have to remember that he didn't. I mean, yeah, you can say that he decided to come to Carolina, but I mean, you really don't know someone until you know them. And you might think that Matt Rhule has some potential, and then you come here and you realize, man, this guy really isn't it. And so, look, I'm also, to all of the Matt Rhule, I mean, the Fitterer detractors, I'm not even really trying to tell you that you're wrong. Because one of the things that I've been saying is it's prove it season. Like, everyone has to prove their worth. That goes including Scott Fitterer. But I do think, yeah, but hold on, let me finish this thought. And I just do think that when you look at this coaching staff, and we're about to get into, like, is the offense tipping off, if it's a run or a pass, and we'll delve into that. But if we really have such an inept football team where the NFL is close, that's why you have the draft. The worst teams pick the best players. Free agent dollars, that's why there's a salary cap. Every team is designed to be close. It's your coaching staff that's supposed to put you over the edge in all of those close battles. I would like to see, and again, I might be alone on this. I know I've got some Fitterer supporters in here, but I believe that I would like to see what Fitterer would do with his own chance to build, to have his part in actually building the coaching staff. Like Brad said, that is how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to hire your general manager, the guy who takes care of the organization from top, and then you hire your on-the-field general, which is your head coach. And the fact that Fitterer didn't get to do that, I just feel like we're not going to be able to see the best of him or our football players until Matt Rhule is out the door.
One thing I did want to say about the draft. Off rip, I was not happy with the drafting and I said it, I got the receipts to show it. I did not like the draft of Terrace. I did not like the draft of Chuba, and fuck that damn long snapper. Those were 3 picks that I was yelling to the high heavens that could have gone towards that O-line. And thus far, I've been proven right. They had to cut the long snapper. Chuba, as good as he might have been in college, offers you. I'm of the opinion that unless you're drafting a Christian McCaffrey game-changing type running back, you don't draft a running back, period. Because there have been undrafted free agent running backs. Amir Abdullah was a better running back than Chuba has been thus far in his career. Chuba offers you absolutely nothing because he is purely a running back, but he doesn't have the build to be a bruiser. He's a slashing running back with brick hands. And apparently that disease has gone up into his arms because now even when the ball is in his arms, he still can hold on to it.
Yeah, Chuba's
Chuba's
like that running back you get in Madden when you're creating one, and he just like stock. Ain't got no add-ons. He just fucking overall 70.
Then you have the draft of Terrace, which I said that in completely different reverse order. Terrace, again, we needed to improve our offensive line. We had DJ, we had Robbie. You did not need to go out and draft a guy in the second round. I don't care how much upside he has. We did not need Terrace. We did not need Chuba. We didn't need the long snapper. We did get some guys in that draft that have shown, that have been good. So this is like an indictment on Rhule and Fitterer. So I just wanted to push back against that. Everybody was good with the draft. I know I wasn't.
Yep.
Okay.
Those were 3 picks that could have easily fixed this line in one draft.
Okay.
I'd like to
Hey, I
add on.
want to let Nick get in on this, and then I want to talk about Dan Orlovsky. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I want to comment is too. I mean, right after we drafted Terrace Marshall, I remember telling Cody, like, I bet you we drafted him just because he is a well-known receiver from LSU, like, just to put fans in seats. Like, that was my honest opinion whenever we drafted him. It's like we traded back so many times, and like you had just said, to get players that could have definitely helped the team. And what did we do? We just screwed ourselves in the long run, at least up until this point. I hope the guy comes out and he balls out, but he hasn't shown jack. So, Terrace, if you're going to ball out soon. Otherwise, you aren't going to be on the team. And Chuba, you need to go back to Canada, bro. We're done with you. Okay?
That's so disrespectful, though. He's a third round. Cody, what was Chuba?
4th round.
Third round. So look, I think if you're third all the way down to 7th, man, when you have the opportunity to make a play, you can't have shit like that, man. The drop.
But he started. He started all last year for Christian McCaffrey.
He fumbled
Yeah,
a lot
and
last year, too.
listen, I think Chuba is a good runner between the A and B gap. But I mean, whether you like it or not, this offense continues to throw him the football, and every single time that they do, we're reminded on how much we shouldn't be doing that. And again, I kind of think it's on player. I don't think they put Chuba in the best of positions, if I'm being very honest with you. But I do agree, man. Chuba, like these drops, especially if the coaches are going to continue to go to him that frequently, we have to have more out of Chuba. Like that's
the thing that's even wilder about it is for a player like Chuba, if Rhule wanted him, he could have legitimately got him in the later portion of the draft, or he could have just, because I'm fairly certain Chuba wouldn't have been drafted by any team in the NFL. He would have been an undrafted free agent. If you wanted to bring him on and try to develop him and have him become a solid rotational guy, cool. But you wasted a 4th round draft pick on the kid, and he's, again, there are undrafted free agent running backs that are better at what the Panthers want the running back to do for the team. Chuba has struggled to catch the ball. He struggled last year and this year thus far with ball security. He has poor contact balance, which I'm watching the kickoff, and when he didn't go down immediately after the dude made contact with him, I was like, oh shit, only for him to fucking fumble the ball immediately after. I'm going to stop before I start to get pissed, because later in that game, you see what a great running back does when he thinks there's contact around him. CMC breaks loose a 30, 40-something yard run. You can see throughout the entire run where he has the football at, high and tight. That is something my dad told me when I first started playing football. You run, if you get in the open field, you keep the ball up, high and tight, because somebody might come up behind you and punch it out. Look at the way Chuba was holding the ball when he came out the end zone. The ball is by his damn side. When he breaks the first initial contact, the ball is down by his side. The defender comes up, makes a hell of a play, and knocks it loose.
And wasn't that Terrence,
that's also on coaching?
And wasn't that Terrence Marshall pick? Wasn't that like, didn't they lean on Joe Brady for that one? Like, let's be honest, like that was like,
that's what
they did.
That's my only defense for Scott Fitter. Like, these guys, I feel like Matt Rhule's drafting guys he wants and guys that and not drafting the guys that we actually need.
Exactly.
Because the guys that he's drafting anyways aren't even playing or seeing.
If you draft talent I over need, I respect that. But I don't believe that they've been drafting talent over need. They've been drafting who they personally like over.
Well, and they're doing this.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, Pickle. They Chuba was picked by his wife. Joe Brady gets to pick Terrence Marshall. Hell, David Tepper. Who knows if hey, you coming? You coming to never ever even take a snap? Like, come on, bro.
Even free agents too. Like Robbie came here because of that Temple connection. Is that right, or something like that?
Well, even the running back that they just picked up as a free agent, he actually committed to Rhule when Rhule was the coach at Temple.
Right.
So
They signed him, so
for all that
Chuba
matter
probably
goes,
won't be. Chuba probably won't be active this Sunday because they
Right.
signed their running back off of the Bills practice squad, meaning he has to be put on the 53-man roster.
He
My
should
hope
be.
is that because he has kick return abilities.
yeah,
My hope is that
he's
Chuba is
been
not active.
yeah he's been active, or he's on the 53, and they've been doing from what I understand today, they've been doing some practice kick returns with him at kick returner.
Chuba has no business.
My bet Chuba will be inactive Sunday.
He has no business playing until we win a game, a couple games.
Chuba needs to go get a CDL or something. That's what he needs to be doing.
Number 30. That's his name, number 30. I don't even call him Chuba Hubbard. I call him number 30.
Yeah,
and
but we ain't gonna disrespect that like that.
We need to trade him. We need to trade him.
This is his second year, guys. I understand the complete. I think that this is his second year. He's never had problems with fumbling. I agree. Chuba, like Cameron Artist Payne, I agree. Chuba is not that good. I agree with that completely. We could have drafted him in the 7th round, picked him up off anything. We could have did anything, but I think that we're starting. We're creating a narrative, or we're possibly creating a narrative that really is not that. Chuba, granted, he did fumble a snap, but what if next week? I just feel like we should be more optimistic. I'm
not saying you're wrong, but it feels like every time there's a fuck up, it's one of Matt Rhule's boys. It just feels that way.
True.
That's all.
Yeah.
And to double down on what Jay Sub said, like, you have Robbie Anderson, who has been out in the media, and he's been criticizing fans. Pretty much like, oh, if you're not, if you're not optimistic, if you're bringing negativity, then it's like you're being a bad fan. It's just very funny to me because I know damn well that Robbie Anderson doesn't like it when fans tell him how to play football, but yet he seems okay telling us how to be a fan. I don't like that shit personally, but I don't know. I want to wrap up this Fitterer conversation and then move on to this Matt Rhule thing.
It's crazy. It's week 2.
We're having this conversation in week 2 about everybody needs to be fired. By the way, I did put a poll in the chat room if people would like to make their voice heard. Currently 109 votes. Right now it's looking like no party is firmly in the lead with 70% of the vote. You can still vote on that while we got time.
Yeah, if I may throw one more thing out there, Cody, real quick. Y'all know last year the 49ers drafted a running back named Trey Sermons in the 3rd round. They cut him in final cuts. He's now a backup with the Eagles. So Chuba was drafted in the 4th. I don't see any problems cutting him if the 49ers can cut a 3rd round pick last year.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, if you're not producing,
running backs are a dime a dozen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, there's the proper knowledge is that you don't even draft running backs, or maybe if you do, it's like 6th or 7th round.
Exactly.
But for the most part, look at Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. They're able to take running backs that you have never heard of in your entire life, but because Shanahan knows how to run offense, man, they have people you've never heard of breaking records in the playoffs.
Look at Mike Davis. Mike Davis did good for us for 1 year. He's a journeyman now.
Shout out to Jesse Davis in the chat. He says that Trey Sermons is on our practice squad. Doesn't even play. He must be an Eagle fan, but shout out to him anyway. So
yeah, he is. I saw him say he was an Eagle fan earlier. Go ahead, Locke.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that easy to just say you can find a running back anywhere. I think you can always find a running back who can contribute, but I don't feel like you can find what round was Nick Chubb drafted off the Browns? Was it like a 2nd round pick or something like that?
Yeah, Chubb was a 2nd round pick, high 2nd round pick.
Okay.
First pick of the 2nd round, actually.
And that's fine. I mean, honestly, but that's a luxury pick, right? That's when you don't have a whole lot of holes to fill, or when you've addressed a lot of your needs in free agency, and you're like, okay, I need a running back. Then, I mean, 2nd, 3rd, 4th round, it's doable, but not when you're basically trying to rebuild or you're you've already taken it down to the studs 1 year removed from doing so.
And like Pickle said, like sometimes you get lucky. Like Dallas Cowboys is completely lucky that Michael Parsons was left there at whatever they picked.
Right.
The Browns were lucky that Chubb
Right.
got to the second round,
The 49ers drafted a guy that not 49ers, the Chiefs drafted a guy we all talked about all the time. He was ignored all through the entire draft because of knee problems.
Trey Smith?
Trey Smith. And listen, I'm a Tennessee fan, folks. I know all about Trey Smith. He had a lot of knee issues. I'm a Tennessee Falcons fan, folks. And they took him and he ain't had no problems at all, I don't think. So, you sometimes you just get lucky. But, sixth, seventh
Brady
round is when you
Christensen.
take that chance.
Brady Christensen was lucky. He's our starting left guard now, and that was just complete luck.
Yeah, third round pick too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm not too upset about people that are not having it with Favor yet, because it's like a lot of the guys that the team, there are a lot of potential, but right now that's what they are. Only 2 years of Scott Fitterer as GM, we haven't had a big enough sample size to really call any of the guys that he's drafted bust or not. Even if someone like Terrace Marshall is starting to kind of look that way. I want to jump into this conversation. For the sake of this discussion, did everyone see the Dan Orlovsky clip that went crazy on Twitter about when Christian McCaffrey 5 yards in the backfield, it's a run, and then when he's lined up right next to him directly, they're going to pass. Did everyone?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to assume that everyone has. Okay, if you haven't, go find it, because I'm not playing that shit. ESPN will fucking take our money fucking so fast, and ESPN doesn't need any more money. Okay, that's going to us. So what I will do is I'll play Matt Rhule's response in just a minute. But people have since come forth and said that what Dan Orlovsky said and pointed out was a little bit misleading. What do you guys think? And do you think there's any truth to what he said in that original video that he posted?
So it's not accurate per se, but like if you watch the All-22, one thing I will say is like I watched the All-22 with a couple coworkers of the Panthers because that was just what we chose to do the other night. And man, there is no pre-snap motion. There's no real misdirection. It's just kind of it's very bland.
Yeah.
So I'm just again, I'm not saying that Dan Orlovsky is correct, but I will say that they do not do a good job disguising their plays at all.
Okay. Jay Stubbs, get in on this, man.
Well, two things. If y'all watch more than what he said, if you actually watch a bunch of plays, like as much as we want to give the guy shit, guys were getting wide open. Just Baker kept, either they dropped them or Baker kept overthrowing them. But honestly, bro, even if it's Cap, it's like, hey man, any help we can get this dude fired, I'm with it. So spam that retweet.
That's one thing I have to add though too, is what you said. I've watched all 22 of every game so far of the last 2 games we played multiple times. One thing if these players was actually catching the balls that was thrown to him and we didn't fumble, we may would have come out on top on both these games, but they didn't. So, then of course that to me, that goes back to training camp and preseason with the lack of letting the offensive line gel. Let Baker line up with the offensive line so they can all get a connection and a going.
Yeah, that fake competition they have out there.
We're playing preseason style football right now to allow everybody to get together when it's regular season. That's just bad coaching all the way around.
All because fake competition. That was it. It was all fake.
That's part of the reason why I've been fairly optimistic all the way through this 0-2 start is what Pickle just stated. I mean, the preseason was the preseason, and there's nothing anyone can go back in time and do about it. I mean, that's just further indictment on Rhule because that's clearly right now a poor decision. But a lot of the issues that we've seen in these past two games, I mean, to me, it was damn near apparent. You have a new OC, you have a new QB, offensive line. I mean, new guys in different positions. I mean, and we talked about how the offensive line takes time to gel. Cody in previous episodes have stated that you don't know who the real teams in the NFL are until around week 6. So I'm looking at these games and the Browns, like week 1 against the Browns, that interception Baker threw. You go back, you watch it, and it's clear. It's as clear as day. Baker wanted, once he saw the blitz coming, he wanted Shy to go up the field. Shy continued to go across the field. Baker threw it where he wanted Shy to go, and it turned into an interception.
Right.
Week 2, you can't even. For me, I can't even put a whole lot of that on the coaches because I could coach you up to the best of my abilities, and then you go out there and you fumble on the opening kickoff. That leads to 3 points. Then on the following drive, you have a guy, Robbie, fumbles again, back-to-back drives with fumbles, and the opposing team gets 6 points off of it. But then you proceed throughout the remainder of the game, and Shy has a terrible drop in the red zone that would have been a first, and possibly Shy could have gone and gotten a touchdown. Like, he might have been able to fight through and get a TD. Ian, similar situation. It's 3rd and like 5, I think, and Ian duck arms it. Ball ricochets like off his fingers. That's the end of what would have been a first down. We would have had it 1st and goal. And that's not to say Ian would have been able to just run over. You're talking about a safety, a corner. Ian might have been able to run over someone and get the ball in the end zone off that play. So that's 2 touchdowns right there. Louvu's drop pick 6.
Oh man, we needed that one, bro.
Yep. And
when I hear people getting on the coaches and for good reason, because that's piss poor decision making on Rhule's part, deciding I'm gonna have a competition. You got to get these guys out there so that they can gel. But then when you get to these games, week 1, week 2, and you're like, damn, defense had 18 missed tackles, and we were up by a point, and shit, referees do their jobs, we win, and our offense didn't look great. Week 2, guys just not being in the moment. That for me, you can't put that on coaching. Like, Shy, catch the damn ball. Ian, catch the damn ball. Shy, run your route. You're open. You catch that. You walking in for a TD. We're blowing the fucking doors off this game because you guys are executing. And that's with the offense still not fully clicking. So I'm hopeful that this upcoming Sunday, they can all get on the same page, get on a similar wavelength. Because, again, we saw it in that 4th quarter. That shot Baker took the Robbie. This offense has the potential when you got a running back like CMC that can, at any point in time, take what looks like a 5-yard handoff for 30 yards. This offense has the weapons and potential to be one of those teams that get hella hot in 1 quarter, and that's the game. You're not catching up anymore.
You cannot ball in Baker's hands though. You got to run that ball at least 40 times a game.
That's been an issue. Prior to the week 2 matchup, I stated that I felt like we needed to put the ball in Baker's hand and let him throw us to victory because of what the Giants had done to them in week 1 against the Titans. But understanding that Baker worked very well off of play action, and I don't see that as a crutch. If you come to me and you tell me my quarterback does this at a fucking high clip, I'm going to do my damnedest to put him in that position to do it. Kurt Warner and a few other quarterback experts, I was watching their videos before the season started. And Kurt Warner was the one that stood out to me because he talked about what Baker did very well and what Baker's like okay at. He's okay at the 3-step, 5-step drop back, read the field, get the ball to the guy that's open. But he excels off of play action. It just so happens that we have a running back that we need to get the ball to. And his backup, Foreman, who filled in for King Henry admirably, get these dudes, get CMC 15, 20 touches in the rushing game. Get Foreman 10, 15 touches in the rushing game and work off the play action from there. And I feel like this offense, again, in 1 quarter could just go off. And that's the game. We win in like 3.
I do feel like, though, like, and it could be just me, but I feel like for the past 2 or 3 years, like the whole team can't catch now. If I'm
Yeah,
being
you know,
honest, it's like no one can catch the ball now.
Everybody
know,
needs to get on the drugs machine.
you remember a few years ago, Ron Rivera had to go into a season, and we had like special team wide receivers is all we had out there on the field. And the one thing I have to say, back then we didn't seem to have wide receivers to play. Now we've got good wide receivers, or at least a veteran wide receiver was active and didn't even line up on the field. That's atrocious. That's bad coaching.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be clarified. I said this earlier in the chat. I don't want people to just understand when I'm blaming somebody, I'm blaming everybody. I'm blaming coaching, players, GMs. I'm blaming them all. I'm blaming everybody. I'm not blaming. If I'm the owner and I'm going to fire somebody this year, I'm going to get rid of some players too. You know, it's going to be there's an old saying, excuse my language, but shit flows downhill. You know, I know that from work.
and Pickle, I'll 100% tell you, if this gets bad and continues to get, I'm talking really bad, then okay, you remember when you brought in Matt Rhule, he was like, oh no, this isn't a rebuild. This was not a rebuild. Everyone that would tell you is that this is not a rebuild. Okay? Well, it almost makes you feel like the Panthers would have been better off doing a full rebuild considering where we are right now. Right. And I'm of the mindset that if that's what we're going to end up doing, that if we're going to end up blowing this up, let's say Rhule, both are out the door. Well, then, yeah, by the time we get to that trade deadline, there probably isn't a player that I would, that I would hoard over pretty much.
Cody.
Can't get rid of this guy. Can't get rid of that guy. But by the way, but hold on, before you go at me, Spo, I'm talking like, let's say the Panthers do nothing but lose the next 7 games or something terrible, right? I'm talking, let's say it gets real bad.
Right.
At that point, I believe it's in your best interest, asset management, and look at what kind of first round and second round picks you can start to recoup if you're going to be a rebuilding football team. Go ahead, Panthers, Pope.
So Cody, listen. So you telling me that they didn't rebuild? They didn't totally rebuild when they hired Matt Rhule?
I mean, what did you define as a total rebuild? Like, I would say no.
Marty Hurney called it a reload.
Yeah, Marty Hurney called it a reload, and I'm of the same mindset. I think one of the problems with the Carolina Panthers is every year we believe that, we're just a few pieces away. We're just a few pieces away. And we kind of have a delusional mindset about where we actually are. And I feel like that's been a detriment. And so, yeah, to answer your question, I don't feel like it was a legit rebuild, Spo.
Okay, so, okay. Like I was saying earlier, like they didn't it wasn't a total rebuild because they kept Marty Hurney for what you would say is stabilization, for an easy transition. But when you look at what David Tepper and Matt Rhule did with the front office, the coaching staff, the training staff, they got rid of all the veterans. To me, that seems like a total rebuild to me. It's almost like an expansion team.
But you know what's the sad part about this, my friend? The reason why we had to go through all that, because Marty Hurney and David Gibbons pissed poor drafting. That's a shameful thing as the owner, or any owner, to sacrifice a coach because you can't draft. That's Arizona Cardinals right there in a nutshell. They still got the same GM in charge. He's been the GM for the last 3 coaches, and he ain't drafted a good player. Well, I just don't go that part. But
I know. Your comment is taking to heart. Go ahead, Nick. I'll let you get in, then I'm going to play Matt Rhule's response to.
Hey, Cody, I didn't get to answer this. I didn't get to
Yeah. No, so we'll go Spoke and then Nick. My bad, Spoke. Go ahead.
No, Nick can go. It's all good. I was just saying.
You're good, dude. Go ahead. Because honestly, I wasn't really paying that much attention. I was in the middle of something.
Hey, Cody.
You know what? I might. So we'll go Spoke and then Jay Stubbs.
Okay, so before I was the Dan. I can't even say his name. Jesus.
Orlovsky.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, Orlowski. How do you say it?
Hey, no, I don't mean to interrupt you. Timeout. Tim Tizzy, bro. I got the brand new microphone. I got the brand new everything, bro. I'm just waiting for the arm to be able to come so I can set the bitch up. I know my audio is terrible. My sincerest apologies. Go ahead, Spoke.
So I think for the casual football viewer, football fan, when they see that video, they be like, oh, so every time, that's typically, I think what Matt Rhule, even what you're about to play, I think he answered that the way he should have answered it. I don't think there was anything, at least on my end, that I saw anything like the most. Yeah. So as far as that, just to answer the question, yeah, I don't think that there was anything wrong with it. I think that as far as, I don't think anything Matt Rhule said was wrong, but I think what Dan said, he was just, I think the narrative they're trying to paint is, how it's all about narrative. I think they're just trying to get Matt Rhule out of here because everybody wants him out of here, but
I did think it was wrong with the way Dan Orlovsky outright shouted at Panther fans on Twitter to pay attention to this. Send this to the Panthers and let them know this. It's like, really? You think they ain't smart enough to look at Twitter? Well, they probably ain't.
Kind of like a tension horn a little bit.
Exactly. I do.
Yeah. But no, you're right. And I do think that he's definitely trying to. I mean, really, it's the same thing that us podcasters do, man. You want to have the take that goes viral that people are like either heavily disagreeing with or people are like, yep. Everything that guy said. I'm gonna let Jay Stubbs go, and then I'm gonna play Matt Rhule and his response video. Go ahead, Jay.
The only thing I will say about the Marty Hurney thing, and again, I'm not trying to give nobody excuses, but like it was like we didn't have it like that summer. We did not really have any off season because it was COVID. So maybe it was the right move to keep him for one more year. So that's the only caveat I want to say. But looking back, obviously, we still should have did a coach and GM at the same time. But I think the COVID kind of messed us up that summer.
Yeah, everything got messed up. But also, that's a lot on David Tepper. I mean, my nickname for David Tepper is Mr. Day Late Dollar Short. I think he should have fired Ron Rivera a lot earlier than he did. He should have fired Marty Hurney a lot earlier than he did. And he's constantly having to do things after the fact. And if you don't think that has hurt this football team, man, I don't know what else I can tell you. This is Matt Rhule and his response to Dan Orlovsky. Sorry if it's hard to hear. It's the best I got.
I think it's. I've been around. Yeah, I saw Dan's thing. I think it's. I've been around. I've been around long enough. I've seen enough coaches. I've seen enough coaches get on there and say every time they do this, it's going to be this, and then it's wrong. I disagree with it. For us, when we put Christian at depth, we are kind of getting into a run set, and from that, we either run it, we zone read it, we RPO it, we run it to the left, we run it to the same side run. Our biggest pass play was from that backfield set that we play action off of it. So if you tell me that we line up in a formation and we run it, we throw it, we play action from there, it's pretty balanced. And so if you're saying that they knew whether we were running or passing, I would say, well, how come we ran for 146 yards, 6.3? So I thought you guys asked the right questions, to be honest with you. The real question.
So he basically goes on to say that because we rushed for 146 passing yards, that it basically kind of offset, well, if we were really telling what we were doing at the line of scrimmage, then we probably wouldn't have that many, rushing yards. Do y'all think that's a good argument? Is what Matt Rhule is saying legitimate, or is there could it possibly be that the truth is somewhere in the middle? We don't have the most complicated playbook, and at times we do tip people. However, Dan Orlovsky might have oversimplified what he was trying to point out.
I don't want to hear it because when we had Cam Newton, our playbook was not very, it wasn't very animated. It was, 30 plays that no one could stop us. You know what I'm saying? So it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tom.
I don't think it's all that. I just think if there was somewhere in the middle, McAdoo said he was trying to do a trick play, which I can see that sometimes if you get the offense believing you're going to do, or the defense believing you're going to do one thing, then you do something else. That's part of play designing. But the answer is somewhere in the middle. I really don't think this is all. This is all there is. If this was as simple as Dan was trying to tell everybody, these coaches would have figured this out a very long time ago, and maybe they already have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Either way, to me, it's just water under the bridge. It's not really that big. It was never been that big of a deal for me. Dan Orlovsky failed as quarterback in the NFL. Apparently, he's failing as a announcer on ESPN or analyst because he's got to make shit up to get his attention and scream at himself at the fan bases across Twitter to get somewhere. If you want to follow a real good guy, what's his name? Shouted out him earlier. Kurt.
Warner.
Herb Street?
Yeah, Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner is a really good follow on YouTube. Really good. He
Yeah,
don't
Kurt.
post a great deal, but he goes in depth with an analyst, and you go back and watch some of his videos. He talks about the Panthers quarterback, including Matt Corral. He's a really good follow on.
Yeah, he has a good YouTube page.
He's a very good
quarterback
follow.
Quarterback Confidential, I think, is the name of his channel. Hey, let me welcome some people to the stream. First, let me make sure I got this guy. Muscles Marinara. Are you there, brother? What's up, man? Hey, you're muted, brother. Unmute your microphone. Come on, Paisan. Let me hear that Paisan voice. What's up, brother?
How you doing? How you doing?
Doing good. How are you, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. I'm buzzing a little bit on some tequila, so feeling pretty good.
Hey,
absolutely.
It's up. Hey, to be real, I had to make sure you're wearing a flasher, bro. I've been getting people in here trying to flash their junk. You're not wearing a shirt, trying to show off the muscles, marinara. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, what you got for the show, man? Do you think? I don't know if you saw the Dan Orlovsky clip, but do you think that the Panthers are kind of tipping off what they're doing at the line of scrimmage?
I saw it, dude. I actually listened to Jonathan Stewart's podcast earlier.
Oh, yeah, he was on with Julian Council, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, dude, I think Orlovsky kind of cherry picks some plays, and it makes sense when he cherry picks those plays. But I mean, I'm not an X's and O's guy. I mean, I played fullback in high school, so like that's all I got. Yeah. Honestly, dude. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just Matt Rhule. Honestly, like he's predictable. It shows. We're going on 3 years now. This shit's predictable. Everything he does.
Yeah, and he also doesn't seem to change a lot. Like every time you hear him, and every time you hear him in the press conference, he's always saying, "Oh, we're so close. We just want to make sure that we continue to push, continue to grind." Like they never really talk about changing what they're doing or how they're going to do it or the personnel that they're going to use. It just seems stale. Like he really doesn't have any idea what he's doing at this point.
I wonder if him and John Fox are related.
Dude, I completely agree. Dude, I actually just pre-ordered my "We're Almost There" T-shirt from Matt Rhule, so I got that going for me.
All right, yeah. So let me ask this question, and then in a minute here we're gonna get to some prize picks, and we're gonna talk about this Panthers and Saints game, and the implications of it, and if there might be a firing after it. But before we move on from this conversation of the offense tipping their hat, and then I reported that there was some mistrust amongst the Panthers football team with Steve Wilkes and Phil Snow, that they don't like our defensive alignment. So a real quick question to everyone of you. I want to get everyone in on this, and then we'll go to the prize picks. What do you think is the bigger problem with the football team? the offensive play calling or the defensive play calling / alignment of our defense? What has been the bigger issue in the Panthers not getting the W?
Straight up offense.
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna go Nick and then Muscles. Go ahead, Nick.
Man, let me go after them.
I gotta say, man, it has to be the offense, and granted, we gotta remember it's only been 2 games. Okay, so there's still another 15 games left of the season. We don't know how everything's gonna play out. But man, Baker dropping five snaps. It's like, dude, you can't do that. Chuba Hubbard, just being Chuba Hubbard. He can't do that. Like, our players on the offense have to play better. The decisions we make on the offense have to be better. I am not crazy worried about the defense yet. We are going to struggle against great teams. They are going to pick apart our defense, and I'm going to change my mindset then. But for right now, I got to say it has to be the offense, man.
Yeah. So we'll go to Muscles Marinara next, and then we'll go to JD. Go ahead, Muscles. Is the offense the problem or the defense the problem?
I have to agree. It's the offense, dude. The batted passes, the drop passes, the botch snaps, just the sloppy play calling. I mean, I told you guys, a month or 2 ago, watching Sam Darnold made me want to punch myself in the handbags. It's the same right now.
Yeah.
Shit. I just want to punch myself in the handbags watching this offense. It's sloppy. It's disgusting. It's just like, dude, what the fuck? I don't get it. I don't.
Man,
And
don't punish your yam bags on behalf of the Panthers, man. It's not worth it, dude. Come on.
Hold on. Well, I do treat my yam bags because of what is it?
Manscaped. You
Manscaped. Trimming yam bags doesn't make
absolutely beautiful segue.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's perfect, man. That's perfect.
A clean shaved bag is the best bag.
Exactly. It makes it look totally bigger, bro.
Yeah, it does.
And I'm just below average, so
it does.
Hey, man, look, it makes it look bigger, but it also prevents the dreaded swamp nuts. Okay?
Yes.
And all the guys on here know exactly what the hell I'm talking about, bro. You gotta get rid of the swamp nuts. Manscaped.com. Get 20% off Manscaped. Free shipping with promo code Panthers at manscaped.com. Appreciate you, Paisan. Next, absolutely. my man JD wanted to jump in on this, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the offense is the obvious answer to the question. I feel similar to when we had Cam and everything was all sunshine and rainbows. When Cam was our starting QB, I always felt like they needed to call at least one design run early, like in that first drive. Call one design run for Cam. And the moment that happened, it seemed like the dude would I don't know if anybody knows what Jujutsu Kaisen is, but in that anime, there's this thing called domain expansion. It seemed like anytime they would call it a design run play for Cam, at that moment, domain expansion, the game became his.
Yeah.
Not in the exact same way for Baker, but they do that offensively. They need to run, like I said earlier. You need to run the ball so that you can then go to what Baker does well, play action. Now, that being said, I have to say the defense warrants some fucking criticism too. I've been a huge fan of Snow thus far in his NFL career with the Panthers, and seeing what he was able to do with that 2020 defense, and then how our defense got off to such a hot start last year. And I think a lot of people say that the defense last year suffered because of how poor the offense was. Thus far in 2 games this season, Snow has been catching my eye in the wrong way, because if I see Brian Burns drop back 17 plus times for the remainder of the season, when he's the most consistent and established pass rusher we have, and you have him dropping out into the flats. If I see them 3-3-5 on a 2nd and 8, I got to repeat that. Not a 2nd and 20, not a 3rd and 25 plus, a 2nd and 8. If I see the 3-3-5 one more damn time, I'm going to lose it. Snow thus far had been one of the better coaches on that coaching staff. This season, like I can't put the 18 broken tackles in week 1 on Snow, but I can fucking put the fact that you had guys going out there and asking the safety to come down and asking safeties to play as if they are linebackers when they are safeties for a reason.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that, my guy. Like, go, like I heard a lot of people say, oh, we can't run a traditional 4-3. And then I watched the Bills line up with a defensive pass rusher whom I would say is in a you could compare Brian Burns to Von Miller. He obviously doesn't have a career that Von Miller's had thus far, but you could compare their pass rushing abilities. They're not huge guys, they're quick guys, they use their speed to their advantage. I'd be damned if I didn't see Von Miller line up on the fucking line, hand in the dirt, and just worked the left tackle.
Yeah.
The way that they lined it up was beautiful. They had damn near all 3 of the other linemen on one side of the offensive line. And it's like, hey, either Von Miller's going to get there or these 3 dudes rushing your 2 linemen on this side are going to get there. I refuse to
Shout out
believe
to the real coaches for the Buffalo Bills.
I refuse to believe the Panthers don't have the players to play. Burns can be a 3-down, put his hand in the dirt. I've seen hell against the Browns. Burns was putting in work against the run. Don't tell me we ain't got the personnel to run X, Y, and Z. We very damn well do. You probably don't like the guys that are out there, but
Right.
no. If you want to run a 3-4, run a 3-4. If you want to run a 4-3, personally, growing up, I've always loved the 4-3, and if not the 4-3, then I go to a nickel. But keep 4 dudes on the damn, like, I don't want to see any 3-man pass rush unless it's third and very fucking long. Don't. We're shooting ourselves, and I say we, and I mean the coaches and players, but we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Like, my answer would be the offensive play calling needs to be better, and the defense is right behind them, like easy.
Yeah, we shooting ourselves with the bazooka.
Stepping on IEDs.
Yeah. This is, I'm gonna let Jay Stubbs get in on this, and then I'll let Pickle go if Pickle wants to say one more thing on this, and then we'll go to some prize picks. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, of course, you know me. I'm gonna answer the question, but I'm gonna go both ways with it. I do think that the biggest problem we've had on this team, and it reflects on coaching, is whether it's offense or defense in the Matt Rhule era, it's always been third down. Whether it's offense or defense, third down is hot dog. It is trash can juice. It is atrocious. Any other word you can put, it is horrible. But without that being said, that stat that we're 1-25 when the other team scores 17 points, it tells me that we're not scoring enough points, and that tells me that it's going to be the offense. Because at the end of the day, no matter how bad our defense is, it's still going to be middle of the pack.
You know what? I
Worst
think
case scenario.
the fact that our offense is so bad, it's like you kind of have to say the offense, right? But everything JD said about the defense is it's 100% true. You know, I feel like these problems are all related to one another. It feels so much like mismanagement amongst our coaching staff. Hey, real quick, before I forget, man, Alex, A1 for Panthers, my dog. What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Happy Friday to everyone. You know, it's a blessed Friday. Let's hope we get a victory Monday this weekend.
Man, we're desperate. We're desperate for a victory Sunday, bro. We're hoping, praying. Yeah, so we'll go to Pickle, and then I'm gonna get Alex, and then we're gonna do some prize picks.
Gotcha. Cool.
Shout out to Mac on WFNZ, putting barbecue sauce all over himself to try to spark a win for the Panthers. Y'all must get paid a lot of money being radio. I'm stupid, but I don't know if I'm that stupid. But anyway, so I would actually. I'm like everybody. I want to say both ways, but obviously you're going to say you notice a lot of things on offense, but the defense has to have their part in this because I mean the 3-3-5 is just stupid. I like the 3-3-5 on Madden, folks, but I'm not dumb enough to think it really belongs in NFL football. Okay, and I'm going to agree though. I think we've got the people to run 4-3. We may not have the best linebackers in the world, but it could work. I don't. I'm not impressed by offense. I've never been impressed by Matt Rhule's offensive coordinators and his offense at all. I really, I don't have any reasons to think it's going to get any better. Maybe I'm wrong. I like to hope I am wrong, but at the same time, if the Panthers come out and win by 20 points against the Saints, we're all going to be happy, but we're going to say, where was that all the time? And am I going to be hopeful for the future? No, not really. Okay, I'm just not. I believed in a lie before. I will no longer believe in that lie again. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want me to get on that bandwagon, you're gonna have to prop the wheels up because that son of a bitch is broke on 3 wheels. 3 wheels is broke, and the 4th one's flat.
I also want to point out, because I don't think it's been mentioned, but in the 2 games our teams played thus far, there have been critical errors on special teams in both games. Piero shanked the kick in week 1, and that led to 3 points, and then we lose by 2 points off of a field goal kick. Week 2, we all know Chuba being Chuba, doing Chuba things at the wrong time for the Panthers. At that time, Chuba was a special teams player. So that's week 1, week 2, special teams has cost us a total of 6 points. And in that time, the Panthers have lost by a total of 5 points, if I'm not mistaken. My math might be 5 points.
Only 5 points.
Correct. So, like
Cody,
this is a team effort. Like when I say they need to tighten up, personally, I'm putting a lot of this more so on the players than the coaches, because coaches coach, players play. What I'm seeing on the field is poor execution, poor tackling, the ball hits you in the hand. Every receiver hears the same thing. You looking in before you go to make a play.
I will say this though. Derek Brown, Burns, and Luvu played well enough on that defense to win Sunday. Yeah, that's point period.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I'm not in the group of people that's looking to like get rid of Luvu and Derek Brown.
I got a question.
Hey, hang on one sec. I promised I'd give Nick an out. Nick's got to get out of here.
I'm sorry.
Nick, appreciate you, brother. My Friday free for all compatriot since day 1. Tell them what you got, man. Any last words, last thoughts for the show before you jump out of here, bro?
I will be watching the game and hopefully on time this time, so that way I don't have to ice Drew up one more time. But dude, I mean, you guys are saying the same. You and Tony have been saying the same thing that I was basically saying last year. Until we win, I'm not picking us to win. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to lose to the Saints again, even though Jameis is hurt. And it's going to suck, but I think Rhule is going to be gone sometime around week 6 if he doesn't get everything together.
Okay.
So,
all right, well,
and I don't want to blow up the team either. Okay, I like the players that we got. So,
all right, don't blow it up, but get rid of Matt Rhule around week 6.
Yep.
I like it. Nick, appreciate you, brother. Until next time, bro. All right, so I'm gonna Alex, and then I want to get to the Saints game and some of the prize picks.
Yeah. So I mean,
so Alex, the question I asked, and you can say whatever you want here, but the question I asked was, is the offense or the defense the issue? But you can take it wherever you want, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think like everyone said, I mean, the obvious answer is the offense. And I honestly think it's just the offense, just because, like what Jay Stubbs said. I mean, if you're only, anything above 17 points and you're 1-25, like that's not good. I mean, this is an offensive league nowadays. Like, you're watching the Josh Allen scoring 40. You're watching all these teams scoring 35, 40 points a game, and we can barely get 3 touchdowns in a game. I don't remember the last time we could score like that,
especially with our turnover rate.
Yeah, and then I mean, on top of that, we don't. And I don't know if you guys listened to the little podcast with Jay Stu and Julian Council this week, but like, we don't have an identity. Like, we don't really have. I don't know if we're a running team or if we're just a passing team. I have no idea, honestly. I mean, I know we ran the ball pretty well last week against the Giants, but I really don't know. Like, and then on top of that too, how come Higgins and Chenault are not on the field? Those guys got to be on the field, man.
Brand.
I mean, Higgins in the preseason, I thought he was killing it. I was like, man, that guy could be our number 2. I mean, that honestly, the way he was playing, and Mayfield has a relationship with him in Cleveland. Like, I don't know. I just think, obviously some of it falls on the players because the players do play, but the coaching staff needs to find those adjustments. Like, they need to figure something out and get an identity on that team. Because if we keep playing like this, we're gonna lose a lot of games if we're scoring 14 to 16 points, 17 points. We're not gonna win games like that. So I mean, it's an offensive league, so we got to score.
And Cody, look at Baylor. Like, they're ranked right now without him. Like, what did he really do?
Dude, as soon as Matt Rhule left Baylor, they became a better team. Like, they were on the verge of the playoffs, but then Baylor was better the next year. So
Send him to Arizona. Send him to Arizona State.
I'm shocked Rhule's still here. I'm shocked, honestly. I got to be honest. I said last week on the show, if they lose on Sunday, he's out of there. And I'm shocked he's still there. So I mean, I don't know.
The fact that this man has I don't feel too bad for Matt Rhule because he has a job waiting on him. He knows he has a job.
He has millions of dollars.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's Nebraska or Arizona State. Like, this guy is going to be one of the bigger hires in college football when he does get fired. That's fine that we're already talking like it's kind of.
And Cody, you know what? Bro, that's what he is. He's a college coach, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just get the fuck out of the NFL and get the fuck out of my city.
He made $40 million to fuck around in the NFL for nothing, for 10 fucking wins.
Yeah. See, that's bullshit. You know what? David Tepper could have paid me a lot less to do that much.
No fucking shit, dude.
To win 5 games?
Yeah.
That is primarily the reason why I stand here. Like, when people are coming, they're critiquing these superstar athletes and these coaches and shit that are making millions of dollars. Like, if you're making a comment about the person, like their personal life, you're taking it a step too far. Like, that individual has every right to come at you and say something. And if you want to throw hands, like, if it were me and I'm in the public's eye and someone makes a comment towards my kids, you catching a fade. I don't care. I'll buy you a wardrobe, but you catching these hands. Now, if you're talking about my performance, and you're talking about my performance compared to my contemporaries, or the fans are saying, hey, we can be better than this, and you're the reason why we're not X, Y, and Z, you got to take that shit on the chin. Like, motherfuckers out here saying Rhule sucks. One or two things he can do. He can turn that shit around. He can take all that shit in, put it into his coaching bag, and go out there and lead these guys and turn this fucking season around. Like, if Rhule somehow gets this team to like 10 wins or some shit in a playoff berth this season, a lot of motherfuckers are going to be sitting there eating crow. But if the team goes 0-17, I ain't even going to say that shit.
We all would love to eat crow, though, right? We all love to eat crow.
If this team loses, I'm firmly in the mindset that if Rhule loses this Sunday, if the team loses this Sunday, I don't give a flying freak. It could be by 1 point. It could be off of some fluke shit. At that point, Rhule needs to be gone. You elevate one of these assistant coaches, Wilkes, McAdoo, you elevate one of them to the head coaching position, and hopefully their energy is able to fucking get these guys going in the right direction, because this team is entirely too damn talented to be 0-3 or 0-2 right now, possibly 0-3. At that point, I'd be completely off. No hope whatsoever in Rhule, and it would have to be Rhule. So
Look, everything that you guys said has made talk about the game where we're talking about could this potentially be the last game that Matt Rhule coaches? Like we're at that point in the season. It's freaking crazy. But before we do, we're gonna use Prize Picks to break down this matchup. And dude, damn it, I'm determined to win one of these weeks, dude. And this one's gonna be it, bro. I'm fucking telling you. I want you all to go to Prize Picks, download Prize Picks today, and play daily fantasy sports with us. Make sure you use the promo code C3 when you sign up. All first-time users that deposit and use our C3 promo code will receive deposit match up to $100. If you deposit 100, Prize Picks will give you 100. If you deposit 50, Prize Picks will give you 50. Guys, Prize Picks has been winning our fans some money, bro. And I'm trying to get on what they're on. And I believe that I've got a winning ticket right here. I wanted to show off a feature of Prize Picks. They'll give you a 3-pick entry for free. And I haven't used mine yet. So what I'm going to do, you guys either convince me that I'm right or that I'm wrong about my picks this year. I would have put some Saints players on here, but they have a lot of questionables. So I don't know if I want to put Alvin Kamara or a Jameis or any of those other guys on this ticket right here. But let me tell you what I got going right now. And y'all just tell me if I'm off base or not. I got one entry is Baker Mayfield, projected passing and rushing yards at 218.5. I got him going for less than that. I got Christian McCaffrey at more than 0.5 of a touchdown. And this is the one that pains me, bro. I have DJ Moore at less than 54.5 projected receiving yards. And part of the reason is because I feel like DJ has been almost lost in the offense. Other than that one touchdown last week, I feel like DJ Moore has not been a very big part of this offense. So we can look at some of these other entries as well. But am I off base? Do I have wrong picks? Tell me what you're thinking, man.
It's straight for me, dude.
Looking straight. I mean, I was even looking at Baker attempts. The past 2 games in a row, he has been under 31.5 passing attempts. Maybe that's a better one. I don't know. What are you guys thinking about this game? I mean, do you think Baker Mayfield is going to be able to put up a performance that is, reminiscent of the Baker that we've all been waiting to see this whole time?
Looking better last 2 games, no, but fuck. No.
Yeah, that's the point. I don't know what to say. Now I know that they say they have practiced all this, but my question is, what, you have to wait till you lose 2 games in regular season before you realize you got to practice something that everybody else been practicing all year? So.
Yeah, I mean, there doesn't seem to be a lot of continuity in the offense. What do y'all think about my DJ Moore pick? Am I wrong for thinking that DJ, unless he breaks out this game?
Doesn't DJ always eat against the Saints, though?
I don't know. Does he? Do I need to change it? Like,
he's their only receiver, really, so fuck, roll with it.
I tell you somebody that they seem to love to throw to that kind of surprised me is Ian Thomas. They seem to like throwing it to him now.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Tommy Tremble is kind of taking a back seat, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, that is weird. They've been very heavy with Ian Thomas. Now, granted, they did pay Ian Thomas money at the end of this past offseason.
As an Ian defender and an Ian fan, coming out of college, Ian. So comparing the two coming out of college, even though Ian came out of college years before Tommy Tommy was viewed as the block, like he had natural gifts at blocking. He's a very good blocker, willing blocker, and he was a guy who needed to work on his route running and pass catching because, if I'm not mistaken, he went to Notre Dame. He wasn't really asked to do that. They had another tight end that was more of the pass catcher.
Yeah.
Ian, on the other hand, coming out of college, was viewed as more of a pass catching tight end who needed to work on his blocking. I said I've been defending Ian with this statement for a very long time. The reason why Ian hasn't produced in this offense is a string of bad luck and terrible circumstances. He had a quarterback in Cam Newton, and we all know how Cam loved to get the ball to the tight end. He now has a quarterback in Baker who likes to spread the ball around. So Ian's production is going to be up this year. And to that point, because Baker likes to spread the ball around, DJ may not be putting up the numbers that we expect a true number one receiver to put up. To that point, though, the reason it goes back to week 2. I heard a few people upset because it's like DJ had 6 targets and Shy had 6 targets, but Shy had like 3 critical fucking drops. If he catches those balls, that again we win that game, and I don't think anybody's complaining that DJ is not getting the lion's share of the targets. I personally prefer it to be a situation where the ball's being spread around. Guys just have to execute when the ball's coming their way.
If I may throw this little tidbit in, you mentioned Tommy Tremble. From me watching as much film as I have, Tommy Tremble stays in to help block 90% of the time. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
You know, somebody has to be in there to block. And right now, Tommy's the guy. It's either Tommy or it's Ricci. One of them is in there blocking pretty much the entire game, which limits how many people you can have running downfield catching the ball.
Yeah, it kind of
Baker Mayfield has never given, like, he had Odell Beckham Jr. That didn't work. Jarvis Landry, that didn't work. So as far as Baker Mayfield throwing to legitimate number 1 receivers, I haven't seen it yet his whole career. He's more of a spread the ball around, get everybody the ball. In my opinion, I think DJ Moore, this may be DJ Moore's, I ain't gonna say a down year. I still think he may reach 1,000 yards, but this may be a down year for him. I don't think so, but it could be.
Yeah, it does. And if it keeps on the same trajectory that it is now, I think it will be a down year for DJ. YB Jordan says he guarantees with this secondary that Baker is going to throw an interception. Let me ask, what do y'all think is more likely? That Baker Mayfield goes for less than 218.5 total passing and rushing yards, or throws 0.5 of a pick? So that would be more or less than, let me see what that, yeah, it's 0.5 interception. So if Baker throws 1 INT, this hits. That's tough, man.
To be honest, I'd bet on Baker throwing an interception.
Yeah,
I think I'm
going to do it.
I would.
I think I'm going to do it.
I may not like it, and I'll tell you, I'll be screaming when it happens.
Unless someone on here can convince me otherwise to not go Baker Mayfield with the interception. Yeah, Jordan said I can't go wrong with either of those. I kind of agree with that. Yeah, man. I just is there any other players y'all wanted me to look at while we're on here? Like I said, the Saints, it's so undependable. They got Robbie Anderson at 35.5 receiving yards, Christian McCaffrey at 57.5. See, that's another thing. Every time I see Christian,
I believe they've nailed that in the head all week. I'd almost bet Christian has a good game, but it ain't my money, so I don't know what I'd bet. If it was my money, I wouldn't bet on it, but I'd almost tell you Christian's going to have a good game.
Well, you tell me whatever you want, because this.
Yeah, but,
so I'm only going to do 3 of them, because if you actually do sign up with PrizePicks, you get a free 3-pick entry. So for no money at all, go and sign up. Use promo code C3, and you can win $25 and see if you even like it, man.
It won't work. I would do it, but it won't work in Tennessee.
Yeah, some states it's wishy-washy. but they're in more and more states all the time. So even if you're not available to do it now, it might be later on this year. But go ahead, Pickle.
But speaking of CMC, I love his answer. I don't know if y'all saw it or not. When
Yeah.
they asked him about injury, being on the injury list, and he said if he was in practice and took a leak, he'd be on the injury report. You got to love that.
He's probably not wrong.
Yeah. But and Steve Smith. I got to shout out Steve Smith. We ain't talking about Steve Smith, but let's do for just a second. Steve Smith, if maybe y'all saw that game last night, somebody, I guess one of the Steelers players or somebody almost bumped into him, and he was on the sidelines talking on TV, mind you. And he says, if one of these players hit me when I'm not in uniform and ready to play, somebody ain't going to be healthy enough to play in the rest of this game. So, that's just a Steve Smith thing.
I did see that. I did see that.
But it was really cool. So I have to shout out Steve Smith. And a shout out to Tony and C3. I got my package today, y'all.
Hey, that Cam Wow. Hold it right there, man. Hey, those are some authentic C3 Cam Wows, baby. I like that. Shout out to the, hey man, I remember when Tony had those made, those Cam Wows, man. I still got mine, man. I use it all the time. Shouting it out. So look, so this is going to be my final entry. And I have Christian McCaffrey at more 0.5 of touchdown. I got DJ Moore. I got less than 54.5 receiving yards. And I got Baker Mayfield at more than his projected 0.5 of an interception. I think that is chingon. I like that. I think that's what I'm going to roll with. Let's see if I'm finally able to hit something, man. Remember, use promo code C3. Oh, hold on. I must have one up here. What did that say? It said entries must include these two different players from two different teams. I thought it did. 3 players selected. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have to do something with the Saints. I got Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Baker Mayfield. All right, let me look at New Orleans real quick.
Because
go ahead,
Winston Jameis is going to throw at least a couple picks.
He's questionable.
Yeah.
Right now, he's questionable.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't like that. There was legit talk that Andy Dalton might play this game.
Oh, y'all. That's what we need. That's what we need. The Panthers to lose to Andy Dalton. That's what we need. Because if Andy Dalton plays, we might that's just our lot this year is to lose to the suck asses of the NFL.
I'd rather play Winston. I
understand.
That
do.
Is true.
But
that is true. James be throwing some interceptions now.
Yep.
And that's why I think a lot of the people were thinking that we might have a chance.
Yeah, if you're the Saints, though, just put yourself in the Saints situation. You got all these injuries, and I'm looking at the injury list for the Panthers.com right now. If you look at all these injuries, and Alvin Kamara's questionable, your right tackle's questionable. You got all these questionable. Even Taysom Hill's questionable. So the question that you have to ask, if you decide to bet Jameis Winston for one game so he can work on his health, would this not be the game you bench him for?
Maybe so. So they do have some Jameis picks on here. Like I said, I just don't know. I don't know how much I'm.
Because if you pick him and he don't play, then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of iffy. Now, by the way, they also have defense on here now. They had the Panthers at 2.5 sacks, and they got New Orleans at 3.
Oh,
So that's something.
I'd like to get 2.5 sacks on Jameis on a quarterback. Period. But
I will say I think this defense is going to make up for these past 2 weeks, and they're going to force 3 turnovers in this game. I'm
I
going to go
would
out on a limb and say
I wouldn't doubt that because we've got a lot of veterans on the defense, and a lot of them are quite. You can tell when you listen to them talk, they're perturbed. Um, you know,
Yeah.
if I had to make a bet, I would say we're going to get 2.5 sacks.
So you would say that we are?
Yes.
Haven't they gave up 10?
More,
They
Go
gave
ahead.
up 10 sacks in 2 weeks, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because their offense. I mean, let's be honest. Their offensive line is porous now, and the right tackle was one of their best players, and he's questionable. So if he don't play, you got to look at who their backups are. Also,
Do y'all
what
think
they-
you think our offensive line prevents New Orleans from getting 3 sacks?
hell no.
I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think too, man.
Outside of Cam Jordan,
Honestly, our offensive line hasn't been as bad as some folks would think.
Yeah, our offensive line
Yeah.
is better than it has been
Right.
Yeah,
in
but
years
Baker's
past.
gonna run right into a sack, though. You know that.
Yeah,
But
remember they
not
got
3
3
sacks.
though.
Not 3 sacks. And the Saints right tackle, if Ramsey, whatever that dude's name, if Ryan don't play, Landon Young is the backup.
Like Alvin Kamara is questionable.
Yeah,
They got Mark Ingram at 23.5 rushing yards. Man, I feel like we did okay against Saquon last week. It's like
their starting safety's questionable.
Yeah, they got a lot of people questionable. I'm gonna go with Les and see if can I combine defensive players.
Did you do Baker interception?
Yeah, I did. I got. So is it? What is that saying?
Yeah, now Stanley Thomas Oliver is technically our 4th corner, but he won't play. I don't think he'll play.
Okay. So you can't bet defensive players with opposing offensive players that they're gonna play. See, I'm finding out PrizePicks as I go along, man. So right now I got Christian McCaffrey and Baker Mayfield. I need to add one more.
So like, why would they have that option up there if you can't pick it? Like why? Like, because I seen you pick the defense of the Saints, but they say you can't pick the Saints defense.
Yeah, so I guess it's a conflict of interest if you pick someone on the Panthers offense, and if you pick on the Saints defense. So I'm not sure, man. So one of the things that I've noticed with PrizePicks is that they don't want any of them to kind of be in conflict with one another. So like you can't have more than if you have one player, you have to have that one player only one time. So you couldn't have a ticket full of Baker Mayfields, for example. But while I'm doing this, I want to ask y'all reasonably, is Matt Rhule fired if we lose this game? And then, all right, tell me why, J Subs.
Because that's the bottom line. Nah, dude, fuck that dude. I mean, he should have got fired last week. We're being honest.
I mean, somebody said he should have been fired last year.
He should have got fired last year, but here we are.
My reason.
The Eagles. I thought about this today because I was talking with an Eagle fan today. I spent lunch with him. If y'all, some of y'all may not read. Jay Stubbs, I know you would. Remember back before Chip Kelly took over the Eagles. The Eagles had a pretty good team. Chip Kelly come in and literally destroyed it. They're just now getting back where they should be.
I mean, they did win a championship.
Well, you know what I'm saying, though. Back when Andy Reid was running it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then they fired Andy Reid and ended up bringing in Chip Kelly. Yeah, that didn't work.
7 seconds or less bullshit he was doing.
Exactly, and they sucked entirely. Finally, they realized the error of their ways and dumped that SOB, and it took them a long time to overcome his screw ups. That's pretty much what Matt Rhule's doing. We're going through the Chip Kelly era.
Not to that extent, cause Chip Kelly was he was power hungry. Like he traded Deshaun,
you're right,
he traded Deshaun, he traded Deshaun Jackson, and he traded the other wide receiver they had, and he kept the dude Riley Cooper because he said he can block.
Right, Matt Rhule's nicer about it than Chip Kelly was, but
I disagree. I think Matt Rhule's a menace behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Or he was until this
That's
year.
what I say. Matt Rhule looks at you and talks straight to you, and then he got that knife behind your back. Chip Kelly just will stab you in the eyeball, face up.
Rhule's problems, like my issues with Rhule is you compare him to can't think of the coaches, the head coach for the Cardinals when he was given the when he was given the head coaching job, he surrounded himself with guys that had been in the NFL for a while. Rhule thought that he and his college homeboys are going to come to the NFL and they were going to be kings and you went about this in a manner that you can't blame anybody but yourself, because I've stated on multiple occasions, when you look at the issues with quarterback play as it pertains to the Panthers, it all started, and I don't want to turn this shit into a Cam Newton conversation, but it's probably going to turn into a Cam Newton conversation. It all started when they decided to move on from Cam. Like that was for me. I don't care what amount of success Rhule has with this team, the disrespect that he and the organization showed Cam, that left a sour taste in my mouth.
But go ahead. I'm sorry, DJ.
Now I'm to try to be quick. If Rhule, even with the decision to move on from Cam, had they just decided to stay faithful in some way, shape, or form to Teddy, but I'm of the belief that if they had held on to Cam, you would have gotten an opportunity to see if he could stay healthy, whether or not he still has it in him to lead a team at the quarterback position. B, it would have allowed Rhule that much more time to get his guys, get his people in. If you didn't feel like you could win with Cam, then maybe you trade up, or hell, if Cam was that terrible of a QB, he would have played you into a top pick, so then you can draft your guy. You went about this whole thing ass backwards, and now you have a very talented team at 0-2, and people are calling for your head, and they've been doing so for a while. You did this to yourself. So if the team goes out there and they lose this game, there's no way that anyone could tell me and convince me that the players are still believing what Rhule has to say. You got to get them out of there. You got to bring in someone else. And to that point, I would go with Wilkes, because the players seem to respect what Wilkes has at what he's done, his character, him as a person, as a coach. By all accounts, I hear players love Wilkes. You have to go with Wilkes, maybe McAdoo, and you have to let them be the voice that's talking to these guys and see if they can get, because this roster is entirely too fucking talented to be losing games in the manner that they is ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is ridiculous. And I feel like we say the same thing at the end of every year, that we have too much talent to be this
the end of every game.
Bad. Yeah, at the end of every game, dude. It's embarrassing, man. It really is.
Cody, either we're up big and we lose, or we're down big and we come back and lose, but we still lose.
Cliff Kingsbury, the Eric Cardinals are losing as well. There's a lot of talk in NFL circles as who gets fired first, Rhule or Kingsbury.
Matt Rhule, definitely.
Wow.
I think so.
I think
but if you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, you could say they've got a franchise quarterback. They've already paid their franchise quarterback, and they still lose.
Hey, the way Denver's talking.
Yeah.
Cody, the way Denver's talking, boy, Hackett might be on the hot seat.
Yeah, Hackett might be on the hot seat. The Cardinals fans are mad. Yep. Oh, how about this? Josh McDaniels is now, everybody's calling him into question. Like, hey, bro, the last time you were a head coach with the Broncos, you were shit. Then you went to Belichick and won a bunch with the Patriots, and now he's starting off really bad with the Raiders. So it's like, okay, maybe he's not as great as everyone thought he was. But that doesn't surprise me. By the way, my final pick, I got one Saint, I got two Panthers. I got more than an interception. I got Christian McCaffrey at more than a touchdown. And I've got Michael Thomas at less than 4.5%. And partly because the Saints fans feel like they're not targeting Michael Thomas enough. So, of course, this is going to be the one where they force feed him the fucking football. But, yeah, I like that. So we'll see if that hits. Once again, use promo code C3. They will match your deposit up to $100. You get a free 3 picks. I mean, you ain't got to spend anything. You can win $20. So check out PrizePicks, our happy and proud sponsor. Who doesn't think that Matt Rhule is going to be fired? Who thinks that he's not going to be fired even if we lose to the Saints?
I don't think Tepper has the balls to fire him. Not till the offseason.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I really do.
I think Rhule's situation is a little bit different. It's a little bit more dicey. If you fire Rhule, then you have to just say we giving up on the season because Rhule brought all his guys. Like most of those guys are his guys. So if you fire Rhule and he brought in all his Baylor guys, how are those guys gonna feel? Like, are those guys gonna coach their hardest? Like you have to wait until at least a certain part of the year to fire Rhule, because if you fire him after week 3, I'm not saying that his guys from Baylor is gonna be like, man, F this, we just about to BS around and we don't care about this because we going with Rhule to Nebraska or wherever he may go. But at the same time, I think if he gets fired, it's gonna have to be around week 12, week 11, because if you fire him early, then you might as well just throw the rest of the year away. Because I don't think those coaches are going to coach for Steve Wilkes or Ben McAdoo.
If you fire if you wait to fire him, then in respect, you just might as well keep him the rest of the year. That ain't gonna. I mean, all you're gonna do then is players are gonna give up, and it's just ain't nobody. It's gonna be like when they fired Ron Rivera. It was just trash after that. Nobody gave a damn. Nobody cared, and at the end we lost everybody anyway because they either retired or were cut. So,
hey, Cody.
It just doesn't. To me, if you fire him now, you have a chance to turn the season around. You give your next coach or your interim coach.
I got something for you. Not only will Matt Rhule get fired, if we start 0-3, not only will Matt Rhule get fired, the topic of conversation next week will be Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
Damn.
Neither one. Bryce Young ain't worth having.
Hey, I'll say, for all those people who are size queens, and they talk about the batted passes being a product of Baker being 6 feet 1, whatever he actually is. Bryce Young is what, 6 feet even?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Cam Newton was 6'5", and he had his passes batted at the line too. It is truly a matter of the QB moving into a lane and getting the ball out before the defender can get his hand up. The height truly does not impact.
I know what y'all are saying, but what I'm saying is if we start 0-3, the season's going to be over, and we're going to be discussing are we kicking a quarterback or not.
Bryce Young Bryce Young is 195 pounds. He just like having the Wilson that's in Arizona that stays hurt. That's pretty much who you're drafting, y'all. You're drafting Mr. IR.
I have a real issue, and by the way, I think this is legit of anyone. I think Bryce Young is on the smaller side, being 6 foot 195, if that, soaking wet. And And I don't know. I just when you think of a franchise quarterback, I think the smaller guys that have been drafted outside of Russell Wilson, who is not looking good right now, the smaller guys haven't had the greatest level of success. Now,
and they don't age well, Cody. They don't age well like everybody.
They don't age well. Their body doesn't handle the pressure of the season much. Yeah, Tua Tagovailoa is doing better, but unless you have runaway speed and you can actually evade people like Kyler Murray, then it's really kind of a non-starter to me. I want better.
Lamar Jackson alert.
Right. Will Levis. To me, the Kentucky quarterback. Will Levis. Now he's 6'3", 230. I like the quarterbacks with a little weight on them. The 230s or 220, 225s. That's just what I like because I think they stand up to the pocket better.
Yeah. To quote our illustrious leader, if you swap Bryce Young and Matt Corral, would we be talking about? We would be talking about Matt Corral the same way people are talking about Bryce Young. If you're talking about all these QBs coming out of college, bro, I'd rather ride with Corral.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm the same, man.
Yes.
I really
Panda
want
in
to see
the
what
chat.
Matt
I like
Corral
him
had.
thick.
Thick, boy.
Thick. Never mind. We better go on.
Hey, thick.
Hey, Cody. Who's the number one?
So he knows he can run strong.
That's a fact.
Right
hey,
now,
listen,
who's the
that's
number
why
one?
Cam Newton held up so good. That's why Josh Allen holds up good because they got some muscle on their ass.
No, Josh Allen is holding up the way he's holding up because Sean McDermott watched what happened to Cam, said, fuck that, I'm finna go find me a Cam Newton, and I'm going to do for him what the Panthers refuse to do for our Cam. I swear to God, every time I watch Josh Allen play, it pisses me off. Like, it hurts me.
Bean and McDermott were hired on the same year, and that's why they get along so good. And they have a plan from day one, and they followed it step by step.
Well, the thing that pisses me off about the Bills right now, there's a player in particular that pisses me off about the Bills, especially if the Bills go on to win the Super Bowl this year. Von Miller. I'm going to hate that motherfucker. Like, I have immense respect for Von Miller's abilities and shit. Like, I don't want it to come off like I just hate him. I have immense respect for. He
ruined your party, and now he keeps.
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
How dare you take away our fucking opportunity? Then you go to the fucking Rams and win one, only to go to the fucking Bills. Nah, man. And then you win one with the quarterback.
JD. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've been living vicariously through Bills fans, bro. No,
hell yeah, dude. Hey. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Cody. Buffalo Panthers, man.
Hey guys. Hey, I'ma just say, JD, you getting mad at the wrong guy. You getting mad at Von Miller. That ain't the guy you need to be mad at. If you want to be mad at, you need to be mad at Mike Remmers. Mike Remmers cost us that Super Bowl.
To add on top of that, Mike Remmers and Mike Shula for leaving Mike Remmers on an island with Von Miller.
And then Kansas City said, "Oh shit, he's spitting. Let's put him into guard Tampa Bay," and they got their ass whooped too.
It is my personal belief. It is my personal belief that I've said this before, but I was brainwashed, if you will, by my dad growing up. That old saying, offenses win games, defenses win championships. I had the moment the coin was flipped, we won. In my head, I'm like, please go to defense, please go to defense. And Rivera was like, we're going to put the offense on the field first. The moment that happened, a part of my soul just fucking faded. Like, this is not going to end well. You're playing into the Broncos' strength. The strength of the Broncos team was their defense. Our defense was much better than the Broncos' offense.
I can't have this conversation, bro. I've had too many nightmares about that game, bro.
Y'all want to know something sicker?
What's sicker than that?
After the Super Bowl, Mike Remmers signed a 5-year deal for a $130 million contract with the Minnesota Vikings.
That was, you know what? That was just karma on the fact that we would turn around and say we signed Matt Khalil to a $55 million deal.
Yeah,
we traded trash cans
We
How
did.
great
Dude,
is
that
it?
summer, guys, I couldn't watch ESPN. I couldn't do nothing. I was so hurt that summer, bro.
No, you
I
dude,
was
I'm right up there with you.
depressed.
I turned off. That summer I turned off football. I very nearly
I
stopped watching it
literally
altogether.
have not watched the game again, and I refuse to watch that game.
The
And
beautiful
Yep.
by
thing
the
about
You and
that
me
way,
year,
both.
the
I've
beautiful thing about the
I've
year,
never
man,
watched
I
that game
was
ever
hey,
again.
The
I was
Patriots
in
my
one was
man
Louisiana.
fun
Candace
because it was
said,
like entertaining, you know.
Yeah.
Our Patriots one was fun, but
Yeah.
that Denver one's like
Yeah, that Patriot loss, dude. We just lost that because
it was
we just run out
cheating.
of
John
time.
Casey.
We just John
No, they were
Casey missed,
cheating.
and
They cheated, but John Casey kicked the ball out of the off,
yeah.
and we got on the
but
40-yard
but
line.
said that
at the same
they
time,
changed plays in the second half. They started
yeah,
calling plays we
yeah,
never called before.
yeah, at the very same time though, that whole year we literally won nearly every single game on the last minute field goal.
That's true.
That's
The cardiac cats.
that's what we called him, with cardiac cats. So Casey, he did it all year. It's just the one game he missed, just that one game. So
Yeah, it
I don't
sounds
get
like.
too mad at
Are you
Casey.
talking? Are you talking about Casey or are you talking about Gano?
No,
Casey,
Casey.
No,
John
Casey in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
No,
John Casey.
no, I'm drawing a comparison to Gano missed the extra point, missed the field goal in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but John Casey's like what 5 all time in scoring.
Yeah, John Casey was part of the original Panther roster.
Yeah,
He was one part of the original Panther roster, and he stayed on the team even after that Super Bowl.
But Pickle,
He
you're right.
stayed on the
That's
same.
the only
Yeah,
thing in his career that kind of like, damn,
yeah,
he
yeah.
fucked that Super Bowl up.
The last few years, catch this out, y'all. The last few years of his career in Carolina, they actually had 2 kickers on the roster because they had a guy just for kickoffs. Because the punter didn't do kickoffs.
Yep.
John Casey couldn't do kickoffs anymore, but he was still a good kicker. So we actually had 2 kickers on the roster just to do kickoffs.
We had
yeah,
was that Sauerbrunn too? We had him. Was that the same?
Yeah, he was cut after the Super Bowl though.
And
Yeah,
by
that's
the way,
true.
Remember,
JD,
Fox, they didn't like him because he was too fat.
before we
JD,
get
you
too
can't
far
really
away from this,
blame Gano on that one. That Super Bowl was rigged from Jump Street. Soon as Peyton Manning got into that game,
oh yeah,
NFL was like, Peyton can't retire with having Eli having more Super Bowls than him.
That game was set up from the get go.
Yep.
And I, like I said, man, I had a bad
Peyton
feeling the
Manning
moment
had to
was
have
very
hit
decided.
Ray.
There was no penalty flags. Cam getting teed off. Like I said, man, we got to change stuff. That shit was heartbreaking.
And
Hey, how about
everybody
this?
knows
How about
Jericho Cotchery caught that
Yeah,
football.
that's what I'm about to
Hell yeah,
say,
he caught the
man.
damn ball.
Jericho Cartwright caught that fucking football as I'm sitting here living and breathing. Man, I don't even know how we got this Super Bowl 50 shit back up here, man. Y'all are bringing up some bad trauma for me and everybody else.
I think I did it. I'm sorry.
Dude,
Yeah.
that shows
Shame.
the height of Cam Newton's
Shame.
powers.
How
He drug a
dare you?
team with the starting wide receiving core of Jericho Cotchery, Ted Ginn Jr., and Philly Brown to a Super Bowl.
And that's why
in the
everyone, hold on,
2003
but
season.
that's why everyone's talking about the Bills, because that Bills team, from the way their defense is played, they got that heavy zone defense, but they got that dominant 4-man pass rush. They got those linebackers that are flying around sideline to sideline, and they have a Cam Newton type of player that they are using to spread the football all over the field, man. They use them
You
on
can
runs.
draw, Cody. You can draw a correlation between Sean McDermott and Bean leaving
Oh, yeah.
us sucking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Direct
Could you
correlation.
imagine if Cam had a weapon like Stephon Gilmore? Not Gilmore, but what's that?
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Hell,
Dude,
if you
that
could have
was
paired
the
a healthy
dream.
Cam Newton with DJ Moore, can you imagine the
Shout
team
out
with
Greg
DJ
Olsen,
Moore,
though. Greg
Greg
Olsen held
Olsen,
him down.
and C-Mac, and Cam?
Yeah, Greg. Oh,
Yeah, Greg did his thing.
So hey, real quick, man, let me
The shame
Yeah,
between Brandon.
I was gonna say, look, man, let's get some final score predictions. Cause
Yeah, it is 9:30.
I made my prediction on the Tuesday show. I said 24-14 New Orleans Saints, because I just don't feel comfortable enough picking the Panthers until they prove that they can win some of these games. And so I normally ask for like an impact player. What I'll do is this. I want the winner. I want the final score. And do you hope that Matt Rhule is out the door if we lose? or do you think that they're going to stick with him? So first, pick score. Tell me what you think about basically what this team is going to be able to do this weekend, man. Like, how do you see this matchup, and what's the final score, and is Matt Rhule out the door?
I think the final score is going to be, to be honest, I think the final score is going to be 21-3, the Saints.
Damn.
I believe that I want Matt Rhule to be fired after this game. But I have no faith in David Tepper's ability to have the guts to do it, so I don't think he will be. What else you need? I forgot.
No, I think that's it, man.
Okay.
If Matt Rhule is going.
Yeah, I hope he is. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't have any hope that David Tepper is going to have the nerve to do it.
No, I hear you. 1,000%. JD, I need a final score. Yeah, give me your final score. Is Matt Rhule going to be out the door with this loss? And yeah, who's going to win?
Shit. I want to be optimistic. Thus far, you know what? I'm gonna base my prediction off of what we did against the Giants last week. I'm gonna say we score 31. Final score is 31-13. The Panthers offense actually goes out and fucking executes. They played the first of many games whereupon they actually have a complementary game. Defense plays well, forces some turnovers, gets the offense a couple of extra possessions. Panthers offense put up 31 points. Defense keeps the Saints to 13, and Rhule is not fired, much to the chagrin of a lot of Panther fans.
Damn. All right. Hey, I've heard that a lot, so you won't be alone in that opinion. A lot of people really don't think that David Tepper's going to nut up and actually do what needs to be done. Locks, man, you still there? All right, we'll come back to Locks, man. Jay Stubbs, give me your final score.
Yeah.
Locks came back. All right, go ahead, Locks. Give me your final score and give me your is Matt Rhule going to be fired if we lose this game?
Yes, the score is going to be 20-17. Panthers win. Rhule is not going anywhere at least until week 11 or 12. Now, if he does go somewhere earlier, he would have to lose at least like 5 or 6, 7 straight games in a row to get fired. I don't believe he's going nowhere, at least right now. And even after this game, if they lose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I hear that. Some optimism. And even if we lose, he doesn't think Matt Rhule's getting fired. All right. Respect. Jay Stubbs, give me a official prediction. Who's going to win? What's the score? And is Matt Rhule at the door?
But Cody, before I say that, I will say this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want us to win, and I hope in 3 weeks from now we're all saying, "You remember how miserable we were 3 weeks ago?" Whatever.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let's get back to reality. I'm going to say 27-26. We lose. Matt Rhule is out the door, and then by next week, we'll be so fucking excited that he's gone. and it will be kind of a saving grace.
So we'll be revitalized by a new interim head coach and maybe be able to save our season. I like that. I like that, man. I mean, dude, if we lose a heartbreaker 26, man, that would be perfectly in line with everything Matt Rhule has done thus far. My man Drew, happy you could jump back in at the end, man. Give me your final score prediction And is Matt Rhule walking if we lose?
Final score 28-10 Saints. Jameis Winston is the player of the game, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed. After that, Matt Rhule is fired.
All right. Tell me your final score again.
28-10.
28-10. All right. Damn, man. Not too many hopeful Panther fans right now.
No, we're hopeful, but we're hopeful he gets
hopeful
fired.
for something different. Yeah. Yeah, true facts. Yeah, man. All right, Alex, 814 Panthers. Appreciate you for jumping on today, man. Give me your final score. Give me your who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, and is Matt Rhule out the door if we lose? Oh, Alex ain't there. Well, I'll be damned. That's it. Ain't no more. And I went to everybody, right? Yeah, I got Pickle, JD, Locksman, J Stubbs, and I got Drew. All right, man. Well, look. This has been another edition of the C3 Friday Free For All, man. It's been 2 hours and 27 minutes. In a little bit, I'm about to go and hang out on Geeks Chasing Squirrels around the interwebs. Talk about some House of the Dragon, maybe a little Rings of Power. So come and check that out. That's Geeks Chasing Squirrels. Does anybody have anything they want to promote or say before they get off the show? Now's your time to do so. Final words.
Fire Matt Rhule.
Hey, I like that. Those are some good final words.
All right, I got something. House of Dragon on Sundays, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, baby, let's go, man.
All right, I can go with that.
Dude, House of Dragon. That's my saving grace on Sundays, man.
Yeah, I just want to say for everybody in the chat, any and everyone listening, hey, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. C3 is for the fans, by the fans, easily one of the best, if not the best podcast out there. I mean, what other podcast has people come on every Friday, talk your shit, and you would just have a all-around good time, right?
That's
so
right,
hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and you know what it is, baby. We keep pounding. Win the season, lose the season, Panther Nation, keep pounding.
Hey, that's what we do, man. C3, we're here all year round. You know, we don't ever take a week off, man. Through the off season, through the regular season. Hey, man, this is your #1 Panthers hangout, man. I appreciate it.
Suck on three. 1, 2, 3, suck.
Follow Panther Pickle on Twitter because you never know what you're going to hear. You never know what you're going to read. You may agree with it or you may not.
Pickle be throwing dick root.
At least you know Pickle is passionate, and that man believes the things that he says, man. Shout out Panther
Pickle. Your call on Sunday was fucking hilarious, dude. You're like fucking fire, fucking every fucking body.
I still feel that way, dude.
The calls have been great, man. To everyone that's been calling in the cat calls, we appreciate you. Use promo code Manscaped, guys. If we sell 8 of them things by the end of this month, they're going to be a full-time sponsor.
And remember, 1 call per person after the game.
That's it.
Unless you're Sea-Dog.
No, so in order to prevent the post-game shows from going 4.5 hours, we're trying to limit everybody to 1 phone call per cat call, so that way we can get through them. If you would like more than 1, cat calls are free. Money is never required. But if you like more than 1, well, a super chat might go along. But anyway, hit the join button. You can join the C3 Panthers podcast for $1.99. Custom emojis, custom badges. We're doing giveaways freaking all the time now, man. So hit that join button if you consider being a part of the C3 Super Fan Club. My name is Cody Lashney. Once again for the C3 Friday Free For All. Until next time, keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.